How does the song go? I heard it from a friend who
No, and
heard
you
it from a
say
friend.
he's just a friend. You never heard that song?
Yeah, I've heard the song. It's not the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's talking about REO Speedwagon Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
How does it go, John? Sing the first couple lines.
No, you don't want me to. You don't want to lose any
I'm
viewers.
showing you a document. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what do you recognize it to be?
It's a text message thread labeled Proctor Friends.
Now, over the course of your investigation, over the course of this case, are you aware that there were iCloud data that was obtained from your personal cell phone
Yes.
and different text strings from that iCloud data from your personal cell phone, correct?
Correct.
And with respect to what has just been placed before you, is that an excerpt or piece from those particular messages?
It is.
And from the front page of that, can you tell the jury who are sort of the participants in this particular text communication?
There's several numbers that aren't identified. The three that are under kind of nicknames me and my buddies have for each other.
Generally speaking, just as far as the participants in this text communication, who are these people to you, and how do you know them? How long have you known them? Who are they?
The members on this text thread are close friends from junior high, first grade even.
So people you've known for years, is that correct?
Correct.
And do each of them live, or do any of them live within the general area at this time?
Some of them do, yes.
And so when some of them do, some of them do not, is that correct?
Correct.
And the ones that do not, how far away do they live?
As far away as Tennessee.
Now, with reference to this, there's an indication as far as the first message sent or last message sent from this particular text chain, correct?
I'm sorry, repeat the question, please.
Sure. Sort of towards the middle of the first page. Help direct your attention to that area. Is there any indication as far as the first message sent and the last message sent with respect to this text chain?
On the first page, yes.
And what is indicated as far as the first message and the last message?
The
Sniff
first
has an
message is,
interesting
I need
take.
to brandish a gun more often. The last is Chip, name of that BPD cop.
No, I'm sorry, sir. If I could direct your attention to the first page in this packet, page 2527, do you see conversation details?
I think it says something about nudes. I'm looking for them.
I'm sorry, may I approach?
Yes.
I'll get you a titty shot in a second. Give me a second to go through them.
Sir, if I could direct your attention to the right.
Okay,
Yeah, everyone's gonna know that
See
you
what I
did
was,
it. Just admit
talking
to
about
it.
now?
I do, sir.
And from that area labeled conversation details, there's a first message sent date and time and a last message sent date and time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is the first message sent date and time?
It's 10/18 of 2021 at 8:48 a.m. The last message sent is 8/31, 2022 at 11:19 p.m.
And is there also within that conversation details an indication as far as number of messages over that time frame within this communication?
There is.
And what does it list for number of messages?
It's 38,707.
And fair to say the packet that you have before you does not contain all 38,707 messages, correct?
That's correct.
The first message that you had, I believe, alluded to in reference to the first one listed within this communication, what date and time is that?
That was January 29th, 2022 at 10:36 p.m.
And who is that message from?
My friend who lives in Tennessee.
And what, if anything, did he send to the group?
I need to brandish a gun more often.
And if you know, what is that in reference to?
He just recently moved to Tennessee, and he was kind of, I think, making a joke as kind of the lifestyle down there where guns are more prominent or more common to be carried around there. So I interpreted that as a joke in that nature.
That makes sense.
And the next message, sir, from that same page, 2527.
The next one is it's bold.
And is there a name associated with that number that's in these?
No,
Do you know who that person is?
I don't.
And the next message, sir,
Uh,
from 10:52 p.m.
Chip, name of that BPD cop.
And Chip, who is that referring to, sir?
That is one of my nicknames I've had since maybe high school.
So a nickname that would be familiar amongst these group of friends in particular.
Yes.
And this time period when these text messages begin, sometime after 10:30 or 10:50 p.m. on January 29th, where are you and what are you doing in reference around that time period?
At this point in time, on the 29th, I'm home.
And that last text message, do you respond to that at approximately 10:53 p.m.?
Yes.
And what was your response?
John O'Keefe.
And the next message down from there, also at 10:53 p.m.
Yes. He took custody of his sister's kids.
That's your response. There's another response above that. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what does that say?
How old?
And you respond as far as he took custody of his sister's kids, correct?
Correct.
Skipping down a couple, do you see an entry at 10:53:49 p.m.?
Yes.
And that's from a 617 number. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the response there?
Oh man, that's rough.
And following that, do you respond to the earlier query as far as age?
I do.
And what did you say?
Mid 40s.
Now, the next message below that, as far as indication of mid 40s, what is that?
His age.
No, I understand that. I'm sorry. The next message underneath that, sir.
I'm sorry. It's a Facebook link.
And do you recall what that Facebook link is to?
It's to John O'Keefe.
And is that something you sent or one of your friends sent?
One of my friends sent.
And the next message below, turning to now page 2529 at the top there. What is the next message that's sent?
What's that? Don't have the book anymore.
And as far as the book, what did you understand that to be? Maybe approach.
Sure.
Well, Anu, it looks like they're definitely laying the groundwork because in these text messages, I believe there's a record that's going to say, hey, I got Karen's phone and I'm looking for nudes. So you're going through, like, when I was talking about nudes, I wasn't talking about these kids. I think you're laying the groundwork there. But you're also saying that me and my friends were joking around. We weren't really doing these things. I think he's trying to sweep it up a little bit, but I'm not sure how you can sweep that up. And I did see someone say, are you from Boston? Untactical Texan. Are you from Boston?
I am not.
What gave it away? The Texan part?
Well, actually, I'm from Wyoming, but
You are from Wyoming?
yes, but I've lived here long enough now that
Yeah.
That's the same with Kingdom. He's not a native born Texan. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm from the Virginia area. Yeah, I'm not from here, but I got here as fast as I can. I think that's the bumper sticker that you see on vehicles around here.
Yep.
Yeah, Untactical should have one too. That's like a requirement. We don't
Yeah.
mistake you for
I do
native
that.
Texans.
I do have ancestry in the original settlers of St. Augustine, so I do have some ties.
And Dante just brought up a very good point. Not only does his cell phone say he was looking for nudes, there was another point in time where he said, I wish you would just go ahead and die. Or something along those lines. Do
Well, they
everyone
did
favor and
they
just
did a
die.
full
Kill
dump on
yourself.
his phone. If that stuff's there, I expect to see that come out in trial. But I will say this: it makes me want to go back into. I've got a text string with Kingdom. You know, some of my friends that we have a text string that's been going on since about 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like-
Zero chance I want that to sit on a stand and have to read what's been texted back and forth in my group.
Well, friends texting friends and stuff like that, that's one thing. But you got the person who is in this investigation, you're searching for nudes and then saying, I wish you would just go ahead and kill herself and do everyone a favor, something along those lines. That's
Well,
not
now-
texting your friends.
The one he's talking about now is a group text with his friends that he goes all the way back to junior high with people who live out of state. That goes back to 2021 up until whenever they ended the little text string. But that's the foundation they've laid so far. We hadn't heard anything about where he allegedly he texts other police officers saying, I've got her phone looking for nudes now. May have sent some nudes, and I'm not sure who he sent the unalive yourself or herself text to, but I don't think it's in this text string. Maybe we'll see.
I think that's some kind of
10-minute
censorship.
break. Okay.
It said her to kill her. I wish she kills herself is what I read, but unalives herself would be similar, but not the same, I guess. All right, so how do you cover this up? Let's assume that he did say both those things. How do you cover this up, Joe? What
I don't-
kind of what kind of questions would you brace for impact and make it not as bad?
Now, you know what? You straight up and you come out with it. You lay out what it was. It was bad behavior. You put the bad behavior out there and let the jury make their decision off of it. This courtroom's not a place to hide things.
So do you have that copy for me?
And I will say that goes especially for the state. The state can't hide things. It is what it is. The investigation wasn't good. The investigation wasn't good. Drop it out there. What's happening?
They're taking a 10-minute break. They went to sidebar. They're taking a 10-minute break so they can. Ooh, look at this new badge.
I like it.
You like that?
That's
Yeah,
slick.
this is the new Lanu.
The new.
That's right. Our good friend Fidji developed that, and John and all my co-hosts have got one. Still working on one for Grizz right now. But other than that, everybody should be flashed out. Co-hosts are going to be in silver, and of course, the host myself is in gold.
And I did
course.
overhear someone say that it looks a little army-ish. Was that the intention, or just?
It is black and gold. So let's make no mistakes.
Oh, okay. What you got, John?
I'm uploading mine to my PC now. Hold on.
Oh, everyone's got their badge. I feel like I'm left out here.
Well, now Dante says, you'll see this with Dante. He says he thinks that the text, it wasn't, he doesn't think he was texting cops, that he was texting his high school mates. Where you from? Australia, Dante? I've heard mates in there a couple of times from you.
Yeah,
But,
I think Dante's the one that has the Australian accent that comments in the X space.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I might be wrong.
Could he be the chairman? Chairman is famous in our spaces.
Is it the chairman for 300? Yeah.
Yes, Vet, yours is coming. Rickety tick. I'm working on them as we speak.
Ooh, we already have other men calling other men sexy. And to what you were saying earlier, John, it's kind of like what was it, the State Farm commercial where it's like, who are you talking to? I'm talking to Jake from at this time of night. You're like, yeah, it's Jake with State Farm. Well, she sounds hideous. Like, well, she is a he.
I feel like there's about to be a send nudes text here somewhere.
There is. So Joe seems to think if you definitely have the nudes, you just get out in front of it and just say, look, I sent the nudes. I messed up. I probably shouldn't have done that. I know that probably looks unprofessional, but I did it. It happened. And I mean, all I can do right now is apologize. But it happened. But anyway, the rest of the stuff I said was true. And that would probably save face.
What would make you feel comfortable is a trier of fact in a courtroom that's supposed to find fact when it comes to misdeeds. Should you cover it up?
I
Or
mean,
should
it
you
worked out for B Rabbit.
who?
For who?
Eminem, B Rabbit. You know what I'm saying? I know everything you're gonna say. I am white. I am a punk. I do have a friend named Cheddar Bob who shot himself in the foot with his own gun. I mean, yeah. What are you gonna say about me? I live in the trailer. Okay, what? And then after that, it's like, oh shit, that was all the stuff I was gonna say about you. You know what I mean? Kind of getting out in front of it and saying, yeah, he's going to say these couple things like that. And yeah, and unfortunately I did say, I'm just working so many hours. I said, man, I wish she would just kill herself. I was just joking with a friend. I didn't mean it. But I don't know, those two things, the nudes and saying that she wished she would just kill herself, even though you're texting your friends, you know, that's the reason why Brian Albert and Brian Higgins deleted their phone and cut the SIM card up, because you have a long history of text messages that may or may not be appropriate. As well, everyone here today also does. You know, if someone says, I'm gonna go through your phone and try to find everything, you're like, the phone's gone, dude.
You leave me out of this, I'm insane.
I know. It's like, I mean, I don't think that my phone's gonna get under a microscope, but I think anybody was under the microscope, nobody's gonna fare with a perfect, squeaky clean record.
That would be very uncomfortable.
yeah, it's like, I mean, Joe, how do you explain this to your wife when you're coming into court today and you already know that she already knows about this, or you tell her the night before, or when do you break it to the wife and say, look, you know, here's what's going to happen? When do you break it to your wife? Or you think she's not going to find out and you haven't even told her yet?
You know, as a police officer, I don't have to break it to my wife because I'm not getting down that road. I'm not doing this. It goes to different levels. The professionalism of it is number one. As a professional law enforcement officer, do you want to explain this to your supervisor? Do you want to sit on a court and stand and tell a jury that you went through a suspect's phone looking for nudes when you're supposed to do a murder investigation? I mean, you're not looking for a lost dog. So I don't know that I get to the point where I have to tell my wife. I don't think I get to the point where I'm looking in a phone for nudes.
I think we step past. I said, hypothetically, if you were in Michael Proctor's situation where it's going to be revealed in court today or tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday this week that you did this, and it's all millions of people are watching, when do you break it to your wife? You think you already did it? You did it like a couple nights ago, or you're just not going to break it to her, knowing that it's getting ready to come out in court?
And I think you do it early as possible. Okay, how's that? For you? As early as possible. There's not a good time to tell your wife that you're doing that, I guess.
But you don't say the full story, right?
There's less of a good time for you to be telling your supervisors this is about to come up.
Yeah. Do you think
he probably had to go to the toilet and throw up when they said, "Hey, we need to get your phone. We're going to dump it and pull all the text messages off of it." He's probably like,
I guarantee you his heart.
Yep.
Yeah. And
because look, folks, everything comes off when they do that. Your Google searches, your emails. It's not they just go grab your text. Everything
like
comes off when
1,700 pages or something.
Right.
God. But another thing is like Brian Higgins, he deleted his phone and got rid of it. Only the things that you could prove from the phones that you have. But you don't think that somebody contacted Proctor? I know he said that everyone contact the wife or whatever, but I guarantee that he's got some stuff on his phone that if he's in his conspiracy, like, the defense is suggesting, I guarantee there's some incriminating things on that phone, but that's a lot of fucking records to go through.
Guarantee on whose?
Michael Proctor's phone records. I mean, I guess you just have to look at the ones, whatever happened between now and then, but that was 2 years ago or longer.
I'm not even sure what your question is on that. Yeah, that's a lot of information to go through on a phone. But that stuff will break out. You pull it from a Celebrite, it'll break out into like an Excel sheet, so you can parse it, search it, put it in order. You can manipulate the
well,
data.
I was thinking maybe if Brian Albert had communications with Michael Proctor, even though Brian Albert or Brian Higgins got rid of their phone, now you have Michael Proctor's that's going to show messages to Brian Albert and Brian Higgins.
Correct.
But it's not going to be the ones like where they message each other like, oh shit, someone was murdered. But you might get the text. I don't know that you'd be stupid enough to text message him, but they're going to have the one that, hey, thanks. When you helped me out of this jam, they do have that one. And that must be how they have it, is through Proctor's phone.
Yeah. They've got it from Proctor's phone, I'm sure. And the other thing about it, we talk about Higgins getting rid of the phone because there might've been something on there, pertaining to this investigation. He might have got rid of his phone for this exact same reason. There may have been other things on his phone that he didn't want to be discovered that had nothing to do with this case.
Oh, 100%. But he said his reason, and tell me on Tactical, like you got rid of your phone and every picture, every video, everything, you didn't save none of it. He testifies. He didn't save none of it. Nothing. He just deleted every picture, every memory, everything off of his phone. And the reason he came back from lunch after getting coached, here's his reason, because he didn't have any kids. So if he doesn't have any kids, he didn't have normal memories that, you know, some people who have children have. He didn't have any memories whatsoever like that. So it was just no big deal. Every picture, it was nothing to save.
I kind of call bullshit on that.
I mean, it's like, I'm sitting here listening to, you know, Joe defending all his police, and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to ride with you, bro. I'm just so hard to do.
I tell you what, my friend.
saved a
You tell
meme
me,
or
you show
something.
me. I'm sorry, Untactical, but you show me where I've defended anything that Higgins did when it comes to that phone.
No, you're right.
All right.
I'm just messing with Joe.
You-
Oh, that's a
you
nice one,
bastard.
John. I know. Joe's like you. By the
Hey,
way.
looking slick there, John.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just made that, Joe?
No,
you-
I didn't make them.
you didn't
I'm putting the pictures in there, but one of our loyal audience members made it. Fidji.
Pidgey.
She did a hell of a job on those.
That looks good, John.
Thank you.
John,
I'm a 2-star.
Night Court Night Crew. John Cox, co-host.
What is 2-star?
2 stars a review. That's your review.
That's
Well,
a
that would be right.
No, there's a ranking system. So if you see someone else, you need to pay close attention to how many stars they have.
Well, Joe's got 2 stars.
Yeah, that's true.
But they're gold stars. That's
Yeah, there's the gold star next to his name.
Don't you need to go show somebody how to shoot or something?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm tired of messing
No.
with you.
Messing with you.
So
No, I did
yes,
that already today.
so here's another question, Joe. So the prosecution, do they bring up the text messages or wait for the defense to bring them? You have to bring them up yourself, right? Because you know that
I think the prosecution has put it all out on the table.
if
it
you
is
don't,
what it
it's gonna
is.
look weird, right?
Well, it's also proper. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are officers of the court. At the end of the day, it's proper. This happened. Don't hide it. It is what it is.
Yeah, shit happens, as the old saying says.
Well, shit may happen to him. He may have to pay for his
I-
actions, but we're in court. That's exactly where people are held accountable for their actions.
I have to
Allegedly.
ask, who's the woman in the tank top behind her? She's kind of hot.
Ooh. Ask
Well,
Michael Proctor. He might have some nudes. No. What Dante say? Actually, Joe has 4 stars. There's 2 stars on.
You know what,
hanger.
Dante? I saw that, but I wasn't going to say it. So
Well, we
think.
stand corrected.
Yeah. So you have half the stars.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
the
Joe
star count was going to be such an issue.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you will until you go to court. You know that's where the
it wasn't until Kingdom said that was my review.
no untacked. Oh yeah, I review. All right, you got me. I should.
Oh, don't put this
Yeah.
on me. I didn't do anything.
That's
I just
true.
pointed out the
I
stars were
said
gold.
that. I said
But
that.
now you did say that Joe's was gold.
I did say
Oh, as
that.
they should
no,
be.
or yeah,
You-
gold star by your name. That's
Oh, Range says, John, I'm not allowed to say it looks sexy. Oh, okay. We won't tell.
yeah.
nobody
Well, I ain't gonna
until
tell
that.
nobody else. Yeah.
Yeah. We just told
think
like
that-
500 people.
Yeah,
I think that's public
873.
record now.
Yeah,
873. Cool.
we're at 873 right now, and the video has been going for 5 hours, 50 minutes, and 14 seconds. We're about to get to the third quarter. We're about to get to the good stuff. And how do you tell this jury that you said those phone records say that you said those? I mean, you're going to try to get a softball the best you can, and you're going to try to just set up some backdrop that makes sense the best you can. But, you know, everyone's going to know it here really soon. It's going to be interesting to see what the
See,
reaction of the
Dante-
jury is going to be.
Dante's nailed it. I got sweet tea in my Yeti cup with my logo on it.
And Joe has never, he's even testified under oath, he's never gotten sweet tea from Chick-fil-A.
What?
Never. I know Joe. Joe is a sweet tea lover. He'll go to
Oh, are
Chick-fil-A
you
and get sweet
serious?
tea. Huh? I'll let him tell the
Once
story.
again, inaccurate testimony on Kingdom's part. I said I've never been given a free sweet tea
Free
Oh.
sweet
from
tea.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I've tendered cash for all my Chick-fil-A sweet teas.
He has to pay his own way. He doesn't get like these free tea, like whatever policy they have in North Carolina. But you're saying it's because the blue line on your license plate.
I that's the only thing I could figure. And she said, I see you're law enforcement. So that was the only thing.
Maybe she just thinks you're sexy, John.
Well,
Yeah.
I do have. What did I
She
do
did
with-
mention that he drives a black Chevy truck.
Yeah, that was on my receipt, and I had to explain that to my girlfriend. She goes, "How the fuck did you get two?"
Yeah. You're like, all the police. It's like that Will Ferrell's like, why are you streaking?
she's
We're
like-
all doing it. It's like,
Well, what'd y'all
"No,
talk about? I'm like, what did we talk about? We talked about I want a chicken sandwich combo or a chicken biscuit combo with a large sweet tea.
Well, what was she
Shit.
wearing, right?
What you should have said, babe, we didn't have a lot of conversation there, but she's been texting me since. I mean, we're talking.
And you do have an extra room, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need just the one sweet tea that you ordered. I'm going to bring you two. And then John's showing it off later on that day. Yeah, I can see why
did
your
do
girl's
that.
getting a little jealous about that. I can totally see that.
I did do that. But you know what's disturbing is that there's people that actually remember that, and it was a week ago.
Oh, no. Who could forget? You know, when Joe
Well,
Lanu talking about tea,
Dante
he's serious with
clearly
that.
hasn't forgotten.
Dante.
Dante brought that shit up. I mean,
John is a major general, and Joe is a full general, highest general rank.
oh,
There you go. We're going with the officer side. That's
Yeah.
usually an insult to some people who are enlisted, but yeah.
Well, that is correct. He's actually the way you remember the stars on a general. It's "Be my little general." John is the my major
Oh.
general.
okay.
Yeah. And Range wanted to point out that he thinks your like is sexy, and then he wanted to say later, your line is
Yeah.
sexy.
Oh, we
Yeah.
need to talk to Big Ron. Y'all see where they caught that big old load and had it? The Coast Guard had a shootout with a bunch of cocaine.
Where is this at? Florida?
Yeah, Florida,
You are Get the witness
unmuted.
back, please.
Broward County, Port Everglades.
Didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they
I
had a
see
big
some video
shootout.
on that.
Yeah, it might be something we can talk about soon.
I'll find the article.
And guys, every night there is Monday through Friday. There's always an X Space starting at 8 o'clock Central Standard, 9 o'clock Eastern, where Joe Lanu and the Night Court talk about different topics every night. So definitely check them out if you're on X Spaces. Follow Joe_LNU
See,
Lanu.
John?
Yes.
Trooper, if I could direct you back to page 2529 within that packet before you. And below that text stating what's that, I don't have the book anymore. You respond, is that correct?
Yes.
And what is it that you say there?
This one is a nightmare. Forget about the kids. That's awful.
And sir, if I could direct your attention again within that same packet to 2532. And there's a message there sent at 10:56 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And who's that from?
A friend who lives in Tennessee.
And what does he say in that text?
I'm sure the owner of the house will receive some shit.
And you respond at 10:56 as well as 10:57. Is that correct?
Correct.
Owner's good. I got him
What
covered.
did you respond?
My first response was nope. Homeowner is a Boston cop too.
And what, if anything, were you saying, or what was the purpose of that text in regard to the homeowner?
I was just letting him know that essentially Mr. O'Keefe is a Boston cop and the homeowner was a Boston cop as well.
Now, if I could turn your attention to 2533. And top of the page, sir, if you could read through that page as far as who's texting and what are they saying?
Again, for my friend from Tennessee and myself, I hope not, but I can't see it. I responded with, she waffled him. I looked at his body at the hospital. He was banged up.
So these are
Um,
text
Now,
messages
as far
with
as the
who?
next text from a
Him and this
781
redneck from Tennessee
Mhm.
that
See, why is
thinks
he
he should
talking
brandish his gun
Um,
more.
Why is he
There's a
get
bunch
beat
of
up?
people on this text.
Why is he talking
and,
about a
you
case to
responded
somebody?
that, is that correct?
I did.
The objection sustained as to form.
What, if any, response did you provide to that?
Nope.
Objection. The objection was to the former question and the answer.
I'll strike it.
Now, turning your attention to 2534. And from this page, sir, if you could again just read through as far as indicating to the jury who's speaking and what is being said.
From the start of the first text, so the owner of the house.
Yes.
So the owner of the house was a woman cop that beat him. That's what I initially thought after talking to Canton paramedic. Then I saw the guy.
And those last two are your responses, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the following text messages are from your friends, is that correct?
Yes.
What do they say?
Bear, let's focus. What does she waffle to mean? What's the story? I responded, she hit him with her car.
And the she that you're referring to there, who is that?
Miss Reed.
Uh-huh.
Turning your attention
Continue.
to the next page, 2535. Again, if you could start at the top of the page and read through that page and just indicate to the jury who is talking and what is being said.
Okay. My friend in Tennessee states, okay, that's fucked up. I respond, intentional or not. Then another response, gotcha. He was frozen in the driveway and she didn't see him, question mark. That's another animal we won't be able to prove. And then I respond, they arrived at the house together, gone to an argument.
I think we'll speak out loud or out of turn.
The objection's overruled.
Your Honor,
But
if I could say this, there needs to be an identifier of who's
I
speaking.
understand what you think the mix-up is. So, Mr. Lally, go back.
Thank you.
Sir, if you could please, again, start at the top of the page and just indicate.
No,
as
just
goes-
after the
I feel bad.
gotcha,
for
he was
his
frozen
mom.
in the driveway,
O'Keefe's
correct,
mom.
Mr. Jackson?
That's correct, Your Honor.
I know.
I respond, that's another animal we won't be able to prove. I follow that up. They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left. 781 number responds with, what's the name of the Canton cop living in Canton? The other one involved.
And how do you respond to that, sir?
There's several other messages before I issue a response.
Objection again. Bottom of the page.
So it's not an objection, but Mr. Lally, why don't you point him?
You're skipping over a couple of messages. Is that what he's
So,
saying?
sir, at the bottom of page 2535, you have a
I
response.
think what
is
he
that
was saying,
correct?
there was messages between other parties, not him.
Correct.
And what is that response?
They arrived at the house together, got into an argument. She was driving and left.
Oh, he purposely left that part out? Makes
So
sense.
it's going to be a matter you can address on cross.
There has to be some accuracy. with the reading of
So
this.
I understand. So, Mr. Lally, why don't you go point for your witness?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Back to your comment the other
Mhm.
week, Joe. Careful what you text about.
Trust me, I've got experience.
They got it's an animal they can't prove. You're talking about the dog. That's a good connection, Dante. Dante's on it, dude.
Okay.
Dante's a mole.
It's a HTML link, whiteout / Proctor iCloud / group chat Feb 2022.
Oh,
So you point out.
well, if it wasn't, it is now.
Can I see what you have for a second, please?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you looking at?
Are you talking about the part where you're talking about the nudes? Just
Mr. Lally, it's on there. Why don't you go show your witness?
show your witness.
Why don't you just read it, Mr. Lally, and tell us who you attribute it to?
Yeah, 'cause your witness is too stupid to
So, sir,
read,
what I'm
so just read it
asking
for
you
us.
about
Would you
is
do
bottom
that?
of Page 2535, excuse me,
He's just acting like he don't want to say that shit.
2535. You indicated biffed him, correct?
Correct.
What did you mean by that?
That Miss Reed had struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
Now, sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2537. Now, do you see a response toward the bottom of the page from yourself, January 29, 2022 at 11:04 p.m.?
Yes.
And can you read that response for the jury?
Yeah, but there'll be some serious charges brought on the girl.
And what did you mean by that, sir?
That throughout the course of the day, we had compelling evidence that Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
And you have two responses from.
He's
friends.
breathing a little heavy right now, don't you think?
Yes,
Bottom of
he
that page, 2537, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what are those responses?
Keep your
Um,
voice up loud, please. Trooper Proctor, jurors can't hear you.
Yes, Your Honor.
He doesn't want anyone to hear it
Number
right
ending
here.
in 5051. Got to be. I can only imagine what internal affairs of the BPD are trying to get out there. The second response, same number. She hot at least.
Uh-oh.
Turning your attention to the next
Almighty.
page, 2538.
And here we go.
At the top, if you could just read.
You want to let the mom leave the room so
No
she doesn't have
shit.
to
Yes,
hear
sir.
this?
No, sir.
Yep. So these came from me. From all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. She's a whack job. CUNT.
Objection.
Oh,
Say the word.
So don't spell it. You have to. So these are your words, Trooper Proctor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
Cunt.
Oops.
She's
Oh.
Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass.
This is awesome.
Is there a
No
word
ass.
that you
Oh.
are referring to there, or why would you text that?
These were, from all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. Is talking about the homeowner, Mr. Albert. I had mentioned the compelling evidence against Miss Reed at this point indicated that Mr. Albert had nothing to do with Mr. O'Keefe's death. The rest of the unprofessional and regrettable comments are something I'm not proud of, and I shouldn't have wrote in a private or any type of setting.
he's
Doesn't say
done.
why you did it.
He
The
is
question is
done.
why.
This is fucking getting good, dude.
Well, the defense is going to use
At
that to
some
show that he had a
point,
bias
if
against
I could
her.
turn your attention to page 2540.
But it's shit like this that make good law enforcement officers look bad.
I think it just makes him look
There's
bad.
a
No.
photograph that's shared within this text communication.
There's
is
other
that
people
correct?
that say, yeah,
Yes, sir.
y'all like.
And does it indicate who shared that
Kingdom's one of
photograph?
those people. Don't let him lie to you.
From the prior page, possible.
The number ending in 5051.
And who is depicted in that photograph that was shared within the group text?
It's Miss Reed being escorted out of the state police Milton Barracks.
What the hell?
And these are all from February 1st of 2022, around that time frame. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, sir, if I could direct you to page 2543.
Oh, Alan's going to eat him up.
And sir, if I could direct you to the top of the page and ask you to read through that page, indicating who's speaking and what the content of those communications are.
Okay. Number ending in 4146. Question is that chick a smoke? Again, 4146 question mark. I respond EH. I respond again, not bag, as Chief would say. I also respond with she's got a leaky balloon knot, leaks poo.
A leaky balloon knot. What the fuck? Are you serious?
Again,
Look at his face. His face. He is embarrassed, which he should
To
be.
misread some medical conditions there.
Wow. God, anybody would be.
Again,
at this point
unprofessional
Yeah.
with that shit.
comments I should
He's-
not have made.
he's done.
That I'm not proud of.
This the lead investigator.
That's why they're not
He's
calling
going
him
to
lead.
Alaska after this.
Even
As far
set that
as
aside. Why are
attitudes
How the hell is he
discussing-
still a police
expressed
officer?
in these
Why are
text
you
messages and other
discussing a
text
case with
Um,
other people?
What, if any, impact did that have as far as your investigation was concerned regarding this?
None.
These juvenile, unprofessional comments have zero impact on the facts and the evidence
Yeah.
and the integrity of this investigation. They said these are unprofessional comments, but they absolutely do not detract from the integrity of the investigation or the facts and evidence of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's see what the
Alright,
jury
man,
decides.
Roach,
It's up for them to
Yes.
decide now. What's a balloon? What's a balloon? Something that leaks poo.
Now, to
Does she have a
provide-
colostomy bag?
No, that's a butthole.
Staying
That they
within,
call it a balloon knot.
You've seen text messages amongst yourself and a variety of,
That's new to
of
me.
different people.
Yeah.
from
Yeah, if
that
you look at
same
it, it looks like a
sort of,
balloon knot. You know what I mean?
iCloud area of your personal phone, correct?
Gotcha.
Bet you need to get you a new phone. Believe me,
Among
they don't go
those
away if you
are
delete.
there communications that you had with members of the Canton Police Department?
Yes.
And how would you characterize, or what was the general content of communications that you had with members of the Canton Police Department?
One communication was to coordinate interview times for firefighters and police officers and to set up a conference room where those interviews could be conducted. Obviously, the presence of Canton detectives or any police officers were not going to be sitting in on these interviews. Another communication was to inquire of relevant security videos that are in the area. Their local department, they know the area very well. So I reached out and asked if there's some good cameras in the area that I had of kind of interest in.
May I approach the witness?
Yes.
I don't blame her, but even the judge is disgusted at him.
This dude might pass out in a minute.
I believe he's under investigation
Showing you another
with
document,
the
just asking if you recognize that.
with the police or with the state police.
Can you?
Yes, I do.
Can you keep your job after
What do
this?
you recognize that to be, sir?
Text communications between my
You
sister and I.
shouldn't.
That's your sister Courtney, is that correct?
That's correct.
And similar to what I'd asked you about the prior packet, as far as a first message sent, date and time, last message sent, date and time, what is indicated on this first page?
First message sent, date, time, December 10th, 2021 at 9:33 p.m. Last message sent, 8:30, 2022 at 8:48 p.m.
And 8:30, that's August 30th, is that correct?
I'm sorry, yes, August 30th, 2022.
And similarly to the other messages, is there an indication as far as how many number of messages were sent between yourself and your sister over that time period?
2,865.
Good God.
Fair to say that the documents in front of you do not contain 2,865 messages?
Correct.
Now, just in reference to the first message on page 2662, the first page in this packet, do you see that from December 10th of 2021 at approximately 9:33 p.m.?
Yes.
And what does that indicate?
A text message from my sister.
And what does it say?
I called earlier, Dolph earlier, and mom was puking in the background.
And do you recall what that was in regard to?
From the sounds of it, my mother had the stomach bug.
Oh, now he's talking about. Oh,
And sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2667. And these are text messages from January 29th, 2022, between yourself and your sister Courtney, correct?
Correct.
And if you could read from the top of the page through the end, and please indicate to the jury as far as who's talking and who's saying what.
So I texted my sister at work, "What's up?" She responds, "What? Why?" I respond, "Oh, just found a frozen to death on a front lawn in Canton this morning. Actually just interviewed Jen McCabe, said she knows you,
And the knows you, who are you referring to?
my sister.
And how did your sister respond to that?
Cut the shit. I responded, you. It was a typo correction with my response to you. She responded, yeah, she knows Jack very well. She's really good friends with Julie. My sister continues on. Her sister is married to Brian Albert. My sister asks, you still working, question mark. I says, yeah, going to be out for a while. Homicide.
And as far as your answers to those questions, or as far as your communications that you had with your sister at this time on the afternoon of January 29th, what were those in regard to, or why were you communicating that to your sister?
At that time, it was just kind of in the news. I was just kind of letting her know I was out working. She didn't share anything specific. I wouldn't share anything specific on cases with my family or anyone. It was just kind of an overall
Define
innocent
specific.
conversation.
Now, turning your attention to the next page, 2669. Again, if you could read from that page as far as who is talking and what the content is.
All right. My sister starts off, the Canton thing is a homicide. I respond, this is at 3 in the afternoon on the 29th. Don't say a word to anyone. She said, of course not. I respond, in the very least, it's suspicious. She responds, this is your livelihood. And then I would never miss with that. 3:07, I respond, Julie and Chris were at the bar with the victim and girlfriend. Got to interview them.
Yet he would never share anything specific. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. About her balloon not leaking and stuff.
I'd like to direct your attention to page 2672.
Then he said, that's a medical term.
These are messages from February 1st, 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the one at the top starts about February 1st, 5:57 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And again, if you could read through as far as who's speaking and what the content of those messages are.
I texted my sister, what's up? She responded, nothing. I just saw Julie, and she said, when this is all over, she wants to get you a thank you gift. And I respond, get Elizabeth one. Elizabeth's my wife. And my sister responds, because I guess her and Chris were friends with John, and she's so proud of you for leading this. And then she writes, Elizabeth, question mark. I respond with, she's been stuck with the kids for the last 10 nights. My sister responded with, yeah, but she knew what life is like married to a cop.
And sir, as far as the gift that's mentioned, as far as Julie Albert, is that anything that you had received at any point in time?
I never received a gift. I never asked for a gift. My wife never received a gift. She never asked for a gift.
But they said when it's over, they'll get
How
you a
would you
gift.
describe this context of this conversation, or why that's being discussed at this time?
Again, I don't know the thought process of my sister and Julie as far as bringing that idea of a gift into play. Like I said, I didn't ask for one. I never received one. The same with my wife.
Sir, if I could direct your attention to page 2676. And again, if I could ask you to start at the top of the page and read through and just indicate as far as who is saying, who is speaking and what they're talking.
I start out, we write like 8 to 12 warrants on each case. My sister responded, no, I have no idea what the hell you do or how it works. I responded on the 10th at 7:36 p.m. I'm starving, but I also just want to go home. Thanks, though. My sister responds, yeah, but is dinner going to be waiting? She responded with, ha, ha, ha. And then I responded, yep. And then my sister responded with, okay, it's fine. Mom and I just don't want to go home.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, he's no longer a cop anymore. But
May I
what
approach
is
the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
what are we going to say to get him with some charges?
Another document, sir, do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that?
This is private messages between my wife and I.
Again, what is your wife's name?
Elizabeth.
And what, if anything, does that indicate as far as dates and times and number of messages involved?
Okay, so the first message sent 5/20/2022 at 6:19 p.m. The last message sent 8/31/2022 at 9:16 p.m.
And what, if any, indication does it give as far as number of messages within that text chain?
1,632.
And of those 1,162, there's one message that's listed on that, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the date and time of that message, and what does it say, and who's speaking?
This is me speaking on June 9th, 2022 at 4:56 p.m. I text my wife waiting to lock this whack job up.
And what are you referring to in that text, sir?
I'm referring to the arrest after Ms. Reed was indicted by the grand jury.
And again, as far as the terminology
At
that
4
you
o'clock?
use in that text message to your wife, why is that?
Again, unprofessional messages I should not have sent. I don't have an explanation other than they're regrettable and it's something I'm not proud of, the language I used.
And you smashed the taillight, you fucking
Yes.
piece of shit, right? You sent that text at
All
4.
right,
You
so
didn't smash
Trooper
the
Proctor, the
taillight
jurors
till
can't
5.
hear you. So speak directly into your microphone the way I'm doing, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Come on, Joe. Get him, Joe. Was I right? That text message was at 4 o'clock on the 29th. They didn't even find that there was tail light until 4:30. Allegedly. She's laughing because he's out there breathing hard. He has to go through probably a whole day of this with the prosecution. Can you imagine when Alan Jackson gets a hold of his ass? Oh my God, dude, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Donald Trump style.
Don't forget, he's getting softballs right now.
Yeah, these are as softballs as it gets, bro.
This is easy as this gets.
There's gonna be a level 5, softball coming soon.
Well, I bet he can use some chapstick right now as many times as he's licked his lips during this.
I would say a Snickers commercial, that one of those not going anywhere for a while. I think that would be a great commercial. What do you got, John? John is gone. He must be at Chick-fil-A showing off with another sweet tea.
He's
Another
going to
free
get 5
fresh
sweet teas this
drink.
time.
Yeah,
Bastard. Free fresh drink. He's on it.
I know. Laura overheard the sweet tea and she made me some homemade sweet tea camo.
Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so sweet tea doesn't happen often, but when it does, like John, you have to post it on X. Yeah, so right now, to be Karen Reed's mom,
Unmuted.
and dad that's sitting right behind, when you're saying that this person did something to cover it up and he broke out the tail light and he
Now,
did it,
Trooper Proctor,
this shit
familiar
lines
with
up.
conversations that within the same text communications from your personal phone with colleagues of yours at the state police?
Yes.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I mean, it's not evidence that he did it, but God, it doesn't make him look good. That's for sure. It ain't hard to connect the dots and say, I think he could do it. There's definitely motive to do it by the things he was saying about her. And he had never met her, didn't know her. And he's saying those kind of things about her.
Well, earlier it was because he was investigating a fellow brother law enforcement officer. So that's where his ire is with her.
Yeah. And then his sister said, are you sure you're going to do this? Think about your career. Well, does she say that every single night? Are you sure you want to do this? Think about your career. That was an interesting statement. That stuck with
I
me.
missed that. What is that supposed to mean?
That's what I'm asking you. That's what his sister texted him. He's just reading through it so fucking fast, and they're not stopping and hanging on it like Jackson will. But he's just trying to read through it, so the jury's like, "Oh, okay, he said it," but the magnifying glass is not on it. Are you sure you want to do this? Think about your career. From his sister.
I must have missed that. I'm not sure what would be career ending other than the text messages he made to his friends about her ass and balloon knot.
Are you sure you want to go through and cover up this murder for these people that you had nothing to do with it? Think about your career. If you get caught covering up this and breaking that taillight and planting that evidence, think about your career. I think that's where the defense will go with it.
Yeah, that's where I would go with it.
It takes a while for Joe to think that the police are corrupt, so we have to walk him down through the breadcrumb trail.
No, I lost connection. I didn't hear it once again, but I just get to relay on your
Turtle Boy, right?
your basic information on that, which is pretty low.
Between you and Turtle Boy, I just count on secondhand information. I'm just fucking with you, Joe.
Oh no, my feelings are hurt going for months.
Yeah, it'll go on for a while. I'll bring it up 5 years from now. You remember that time we were watching that show?
Yeah, you know me, man. I'm real tender.
Yeah, you get your feeling hurts often. I do know that. All right, let's see here. Yeah, he also called her
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
messages with his wife, called her a whack job.
Sir, before I get into that, though,
Said he
if I
couldn't wait to lock her up.
turn your attention back to some of the comments. On
Yeah, I heard that. I just didn't hear the part about
the January
your career.
29th and February 1st or 2nd text communications among your friend group. With reference to that particular time frame and the language that you used, what sort of information had you gathered to that point, and why would you say or use that particular language in your, particularly in your descriptions of the defendant?
So this is, 16, 18 hours later, and we conducted multiple interviews. We
Speak up.
conducted multiple interviews. We knew Mr. O'Keefe never went into Fairview Road. We knew there was one shoe at the scene, one shoe at the hospital. Mr. O'Keefe's, based off Mr. O'Keefe's injuries, Miss Reed's statements when Sergeant Buchanan and I interviewed her, her broken taillight, the missing taillight, some taillight pieces found at the scene, the compelling evidence pointing directly at Miss Reed that she struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle
Compelling.
led me to make those comments. Whether, like I said, they weren't professional comments, but based on the day's investigation, it was clear that Miss Reed had struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
Sir, if I could turn your attention to the documents before you, do you recognize those?
I do.
And as far as the participants in that particular conversation, who were the participants listed there?
It's Trooper David DeChico and myself.
And Trooper DeChico and yourself both work within the same unit with the state police, is that correct?
That's correct.
And beyond the professional relationship you have with yourself, between yourself and Trooper DeChico, how would you characterize your relationship, generally speaking?
We're buddies, you know, we golf together, hang outside of work, you know, our kids play together. So I'd say, you know, we're friends.
Now, within the, again, as far as the first message sent, date and time, and last message sent, date and time within this conversation, if you could describe that for the jury.
First message sent, date and time, March 17th, 2022, 11:08 a.m. Last message sent, date and time, August 18th, 2022, 6:08 a.m.
And again, the number of messages listed within this text chain.
87.
And fair to say the documents before you do not contain 87.
Yeah,
text.
Bev did snap at him.
That's correct, sir.
Now, just in
Yeah.
general terms,
Not-
if you
please
have an
keep your voice
opportunity
up.
to just look at the first couple pages there.
Talk to him like
fair
a
to
first
say
grade
those
teacher.
are just,
Speak up.
Sort of jokes that you have going back and forth between yourself and Trooper DeChico. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, if I could turn your attention specifically.
Are we gonna get to nudes?
Page 2632.
Oh, that'd be great.
And these are text messages starting on April 28th, 2022 at 10:52 in the morning. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what was the time again, sir?
April 28th, 2022, 10:52 a.m.
Yes, correct.
And again, sir, with reference to this page, if you could read the content to the jury and please indicate who is speaking at each respective times.
Okay. I start out without a doubt. He's got diarrhea of the mouth too. Trooper DeChico, rookie move, not going into a meeting with the ME and getting that homicide determination. I respond, Yuri and I had two conference calls with her, sent her numerous photos, etc. We laid out the entire case for her. Trooper DeChico responds, not good enough. Should have had me or Jeff do it. I
He's
respond,
about to cry.
if you two did it, she would have made it accidental or natural causes.
And can you explain the context of those communications or what exactly is it that you and Trooper
He's
DeChico
better
are
at covering
talking
up
about?
crimes than them.
Okay. So the ME is the medical examiner. They conducted the autopsy of Mr. O'Keefe. Our office, it's kind of a little bit of a locker room.
Hold on, wait for the ambulance and then speak up. The jurors
Sure.
can't hear you way back where the court officer's standing.
Get him.
Put the microphone closer to your filthy mouth using the C word
So
in
like I
my
said,
court.
the ME stands for medical examiner. They conducted the autopsy of Mr. O'Keefe. I guess I'll address the conference calls.
Bev
Sergeant
may have just
Mechanic and I
figured
had
out
out
what
with the medical
balloon knot
examiner.
was.
The doctor had some questions
Yeah.
as to the facts and evidence, kind of what had transpired, which is common. You know, even if it's a homicide, I've had many calls with the medical examiner's office, even if it's a suicide or overdose. Always with a homicide, the doctor wants to know
Yeah.
what transpired. Trooper DeChico and myself, we kind of like to bust each other's chops, go back and forth. So that's what he meant by saying rookie move, not going into a meeting with the ME and getting that homicide determination. The original determination came back.
Objection.
Sustained. Next question, Mr. Lally.
Yeah.
Now, as far as
You're not a police officer no more, you fucking piece of shit.
attending the autopsy, is that something that typically someone within your office would do, within your unit would do with regard to any sort of death investigation?
Yes.
And do you know who attended the autopsy of Mr. O'Keefe in this specific case?
Trooper Connor Keefe.
And so as far as Trooper Chico's reference to you not going in or Sergeant Mechanic not going in, is that what you believe Trooper Chico was referring to in that message?
Objection.
Sustained as to the form.
You indicated that you and Trooper DeChico bust each other's chops. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And can you describe a little more, expound upon that as far as the nature of your relationship and sort of the text messages that you exchange in this and any other communications that you have?
It's a stretch, Joe. He's trying to sleep it up. I just don't see how you can do it.
Basically,
no
just
way.
kind of needling each other, and him doing that is by saying, texting me, rookie move, not going into meeting with the medical examiner. So that's a perfect example of him kind of just needling me. which
Because the original port
We
was
do on a
something,
daily
and then they
basis.
had to switch it.
And as far as your interpretation of that, did you interpret that as a serious comment or something said in jest?
I interpreted that as a typical joke from Trooper DeChico.
Now, may I approach to retrieve?
Yes.
I mean, just because you're going to get fired, you ain't got to bring all your boys down with you. Just take one for the team, fall on the sword, and get the hell out of my face using the C word in my courtroom. Oh my God! Can you imagine, Joe,
He
being
tried
on
to,
the stand?
no, I can't imagine this.
Jesus Christ!
I would have quit, and I don't know. You'd have
I
to-
retire and plead the fifth. Just plead the fifth to everything, and just retire the day before.
just have to come in there and it's like, yeah, no, I quit
Yeah,
because
bro.
I'm so embarrassed of this, and this is ridiculous.
Other
But let's get this
documents,
over with.
Asking, do you recognize that?
Yes.
Do you recognize that to be?
Text messages between myself and Trooper DeChico.
And again, what is the first message sent, date and time, last message?
Dante's
sent,
right.
date and
He
time,
is
and number of
broken.
Messages contained therein.
Yep.
First message sent, date and time, April 28th, 2022 at 1:09 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, April 28th, 2022, 4:45 p.m.
And the number of messages, sir.
4.
And if you could read the contents of those messages contained therein. Please indicate who's speaking.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
So I started out, of course, it's undetermined. She was a whack job. Trooper DeChico responds, "Dear God, WTF, what the hell is inconclusive about the whole thing?"
And as far as your indication there, as far as she was a whack job, who are you referring to there?
Miss Reed,
You sure you weren't talking about the medical examiner?
Now, as far as the undetermined of what you're talking about, what is sort of the content or the context of this conversation?
that would be the manner of death was determined to be undetermined by the medical examiner's office.
And so I ask you again, as far as your reference there in the bottom of the first page, as far as she was a whack job, whom do you believe you're referring to there?
Again,
Reed or the medical examiner?
Miss Reed.
You called that.
May I approach your honor?
Yes.
Yeah, make him say it.
Think about them two young
Okay,
kids at home. You're not
listen.
going to see them again, man.
If there's still the text out there where he took news off her phone and sent them, he still hasn't gotten to that. This is rough.
Yeah, this is bad, dude. I mean, it's funny that he's in this little pickle, and it's fun to watch him like weed himself out. But if he has probably been on thousands of cases and stuff like that, I'm sure there is motions being filed as we speak.
You're gonna have to. I don't know about motions, but you're gonna have to give that dude a barf bag when it comes to cross, because this is softball. Seriously, what he's getting now is as soft as it can get. It can't go any easier than what's going on him right now. They are going to rip him to pieces.
Yeah, he's
And
like,
if he took nudes off of her phone and sent them to anyone, God, this guy. I hope he's not armed. He might suck on a pistol before he gets off the witness stand.
oh, between today and tomorrow. Because not tomorrow, it'd be Wednesday.
Yeah, find him hanging in the closet.
Yeah, he's not going to return. Well, it's like, sir, you look a little rough today. Like, well, I've been sleeping in my car for the last 2 fucking days.
Do you think he has already had a conversation with his wife about this stuff?
Yeah, this is not a
That's what it is.
surprise.
Yeah.
He wasn't surprised by this today. He knew this was coming, and he probably hadn't slept in a week.
He already has the divorce attorney already ready to go. It's not only it's not only that your man's doing this, like, you know, behind closed doors, you can forgive a lot of things, but this is the whole fucking world knows. It's like way different.
Get your national television and live on X. There's 500 and some odd people just alone watching this. So
Yeah,
can you
it's
imagine?
Everywhere you go that someone knows who you are, they're like, oh, your husband is, oh, what the, I mean, God, can you imagine the shame?
Oh, he's the
That's
guy
what
who
I
said
was-
balloon knot on the stand. Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
what I
Oh,
was
yeah. He
getting
gets
ready to
nudes
say.
off of people that he arrests. I mean, I don't know how you could just keep on working when you're taking nudes off of phones and saying this kind of shit. To
Well,
your
something has
sister.
definitely changed with Aunt Bev there because her tone to him is gotten to be whatever. Just speak up.
Yeah, she's school marvish right now.
Yeah.
School Marvish. I like that.
Well, here you are. You got a premier law enforcement officer talking like that, and then on top of that, discussing a case, an ongoing case with his sister.
Yeah, man.
And others?
Well, he's on a group text string with who knows how many people over how many
Well,
different states he's talking shit.
Yeah,
on.
and he's like, well, it's
Yeah.
just somebody in Tennessee. I mean, just somebody in Tennessee. It's like,
Now, I
okay.
will say the one to trooper, I could buy some of that. Yeah, a little bit of that, but not too much there. But the whole thing about she didn't have much of an ass and the whole balloon knot, everything else is so far out of line.
Well, that and when the thing of the with the someone who's from Tennessee and still has a Tennessee number, you're talking about, oh, she making fun of she's from Waterview or wherever the hell it is. Only someone from that area would know that that is a part that's not that nice, but you're acting like you're from someplace, but it's a derogatory comment to say, oh, and she's from this place. It's obviously someone who knows that area. It's not just some motherfucker in Tennessee that has no knowledge.
Well, no, it's people from this area.
Oh.
They went to high school with them. They moved off and one's in Tennessee working. So
that makes
these
sense.
are all people that know the area.
Yeah. Whenever you
Hey,
say,
maybe
like, I don't
maybe
know how
le-
that story broke and leaked. It's like, oh, well, let me show you Proctor's phone. I'll show you how stories leak.
yeah. So you one more time you had to bring in the leak, didn't you? I like the way you did that.
No,
I
yeah,
saw what
no
you did
pun
there.
intended. That was just a balloon knot leak.
I just wonder if Lisa can give us any background on where she's from, and does she have a different accent for people from Maine or something?
Interesting. And did you see Dante? He actually brought up some information I didn't even know existed. Said that Karen actually had colon cancer.
Crohn's
So-
disease, I believe. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Crohn's
Did I say
disease,
that? Crohn's disease. Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. I know my mom has it, but apparently the leaky balloon knot must be in reference to that.
It's a colostomy bag.
Is
Very
it?
embarrassing for people.
No, it's not a colostomy bag.
No, it's something with your stomach or something.
It's
Well, I know,
That-
I'm not going to say it here, but John, look up balloon knot on your phone and see what the street slang of that is. You'll
Oh,
understand
God,
it when
John,
you see
don't
it.
do it.
Look it up, John.
Don't do it.
Look it up. If you think colostomy bag, you need to look it up. I was off there for a minute there too, but I know what it is now.
oh,
that's
you-
what
you
makes it-
Googled it.
That's what makes it even worse.
I need to have you under oath and talk about what
Yeah.
time did you Google balloon knot? Get your phone.
You know that's on your phone forever.
Yeah, you
Without
didn't
a
even
doubt.
search incognito. What are you doing, dude? So I don't know. This
Would
case
y'all
is
be
not looking good,
surprised
bro.
if I told you when I just type in BAL, it comes up. So apparently it's trending right now.
We're probably partially responsible for that.
You think?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Oh, now do you know what it is now, John?
Yeah, I got you. As I ate my
Well, I
That's
tell you
just
what,
horrible.
this is definitely a popcorn moment. But let's not forget, as I'm looking at X right now, and I am seeing the the hospital pictures of what John O'Keefe looked like, that they beat this Boston police officer to damn near to death and then left him outside in the cold. This is something super fucking serious that happened inside that house. It didn't happen from a car. This guy that's on the stand, all this other stuff is funny, But this guy assisted in covering up this and framing Karen Reed. But this guy is the one who was the quarterback of all of
You
it.
are unmuted.
That didn't have nothing to do with it. He wasn't even at the house, but he still agreed to cover this up by doing a few things. And this guy, that's what the defense is alleging, at least.
They're handing you another set of documents.
So it's a really serious
You don't
matter.
look
For
up
him to be
anything?
doing that, it's unbelievable.
Do you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
Another text thread between myself, Trooper DeChico, and Trooper Kokowski.
And Trooper Kaskowski is another.
Uh-oh,
trooper
here comes the
within your
nudes.
unit in the
Here we
state
go.
police. Is that correct?
Yes.
And again, if you could read from the first message sent, date and time, and the last message sent, date and time.
First message sent, date and time, 5/24/2022, 9:21 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, 8/24/2022, 4:56 p.m.
And as far as the number of messages indicated within this text chain between yourself, Trooper Kakowski, and Trooper DeChico,
494.
fair to say the documents before you do not contain 494 text messages, correct?
Correct.
Just in reference to that first page, 2635, first message sent, that's May 24th, 2022, around 9:21 p.m., is that correct?
Yes.
And that's a message sent from Trooper Kaskowski, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is that?
Appears to be a picture of a toy Santa Claus.
I want to hear what
Sir,
Alan
if I
Jackson
could
said it's a
direct your
picture of.
attention to page 2644. If I could direct you to the bottom of the page, sir, and see the text from yourself at June 9th, 2022 at 11:19 p.m.
Yes.
Very bottom of the page. And Your Honor, may I approach just to point it out?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it, sir. Okay.
If you could read what you wrote on June 9th, 2022, around that time, sir.
If you like women who shit themselves.
And again, sir,
Good God.
what is it that you're referring to there?
Again, a regrettable comment I made about Miss Reed's
Oh,
medical
let me get you
condition.
that.
Now, if I could direct you to the following page, 2645. And again, if you could read from that page as far as who is, and indicate to the jury who is speaking and what is being said on.
Grab your popcorn, dog. Here we go.
I'm speaking right now. The statement she made tonight at 8/7 was mental. Thank Christ it was on BWC, which is body worn camera. Trooper Kakowski responds, "That's her. Smoke." Trooper Kakowski again, what'd she say? I respond, said the Alberts beat the shit out of O'Keefe, left him for dead, and that's why her taillight was cracked. She's gross. Trooper DeChico, oh, fuck her, bitch.
Thank you, sir. May I approach to retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sir, with reference to that last bit, as far as June 9th, 2022, what was going on that day in reference to this matter again?
Miss Reed was being processed at the Milton Barracks.
Thank you. I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Jesus, can you? I'm sure this ain't fun for Lally either, dude. You know, you're on your 7th week of testimony, and then you finally call this dude up. You're like, oh my God, it was already shaky to begin with.
And you know, here's the thing. Even if they had evidence against her, what juror, after hearing all that, even at this point, is going to convict her?
Yep.
How can you say that with the camera footage all chopped up and all this other shit? How can you say that no way that you're going to believe he covered that up, that he did that? No way he's so beyond approach.
Yes.
There's no way. There's got to be a percentage in your mind that says
Set of
that he
documents you
possibly broke that
recognize
tail light out and it framed him.
I do.
What do you recognize those to be?
Another text thread with members from my office, troopers.
And who are the troopers that are listed within that?
Trooper Chris Moore, Trooper Jeff Kukowski, Lieutenant John Fanning, Trooper Dave DeChico, and Sergeant Yuri Buchanan.
Uh-oh.
And what is the first message sent, date and time?
That would be 5/26/2022 at 8:19 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, 8/26/2022, 5:36 p.m.
And what is listed as far as the number of messages within this chain?
Yeah, man, he
651.
is.
And fair to say the documents before you do not contain all 651 of those messages within this chain. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now,
8 o'clock at night. What are you thinking about, buddy? What are you thinking about when you got a phone in your hand?
Well, this might be where the
sir, if I could
photos come in.
direct your attention
Balloon
to
knots.
He's not into balloon
page
knots, but
2682.
he likes the boob shots.
You see a message sent from Trooper DeChico on August 17th, 2022 at 9:42 p.m.
Yes.
And is that an image contained on the next page, which is 2683?
Oh, shit, dude.
Here we
Yes,
go.
it is.
And what is the image of?
That is a picture of Mr. Yannetti. Appears to be from quite some time ago.
Now, turning your attention to the next page, 2684. And there's a response from you, August 17th, 2022 at 9:44 p.m. Is that correct?
Sorry, sir. Go with the date and time again, please.
Now, who's Yannetti?
Page 2684.
Unetti's the not Alan Jackson, but the other
17,
defense
2022,
counsel.
9:44.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
You see there's like sort of three
Yeah.
responses from you.
I have you now.
If you could just read the three responses from yourself, sir.
Okay, so these came from me. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. No nude so far. I hate that man. I truly hate him.
Now, with reference to the investigation at this point, when you're talking
He
about
read
this
real
client's phone,
fast.
who are you referring to?
Miss Reed.
And with regards to the phone at that point, can you describe for the jury sort of what's going on during this time period of August 17th, 2022 in regard to Ms. Reed's phone?
So after obtaining a search warrant for Miss Reed's phone, we weren't able to extract any data from it until August of 2023. Troopers in my office knew I was going through the phone that evening. I was most interested in location data, text messages, Google searches.
Vaseline.
That
handy
was
wipe.
the update I gave the troopers in the office. It was a distasteful joke. I should have gave a proper update instead of that. I wasn't able to go through the phone as thoroughly as possible because I came across some
That made my pee hard.
text between an attorney and Miss Reed, so I had to stop going through her phone, and I made my supervisor aware of those communications.
Bullshit.
That's where you draw the line. Okay.
Now, just
Yeah,
to
that's where he
reference what you
draws the
just
line,
said,
yeah.
This is in August of 2022, is that correct?
Correct.
So after a search warrant is obtained for the defendant's phone, where did it go? You indicated you gave it to Trooper Garino, and where did it go from there?
Trooper Garino essentially hooks it up to a device called Gray Key, where he tries every possible combination passcodes in order to access the data contained in the phone.
And at that time, when you retrieved it pursuant to the search warrant, you didn't have the passcode to the defendant's phone, is that correct?
Correct.
So that device is designed to sort of go through numbers and try to find a combination to get into the phone, correct?
Correct.
And so from the time that you had seized it in late January or on January 29th, 2022, until this date in August of 2022, had you been able to get into the phone or see anything in the phone in those intervening months or 7 months between January and August?
No.
And so then at this time that you're sending this text message in August of 2022, is that around the time that you were first able to access the phone?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Yes, that was the first time we were able to have access to the phone.
And with reference to your access to the phone, were you looking for nudes or anything like that in regard to the defendant?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Like I stated, I was most interested in Miss Reed's location data, text communications, Google searches, things of that nature. More evidence contained within the phone.
And so, sir, you mentioned at some point you came across some information that caused you to sort of freeze your looking through the phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, as far as that specific time period in August of 2022, when was the next time that you or any troopers from your office were able to actually look at any extraction of the defendant's phone?
So once I came across that text communication that took place on the 29th between Ms. Reed and an attorney, the phone had to be sent off to what they call a taint team to remove any attorney-client privilege information from the phone.
A tank
And then it
team?
would be returned to us, as well as defense received a copy of that as well. I'm not positive on the time. It was quite a long turnaround for that process to be completed.
Sometime at least in the spring or summer of 2023. Does that sound about right?
It sounds about right.
May I approach to retrieve, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate terminology. They should probably change that if that's a real thing.
Yeah, the tank team.
Yeah, one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
I mean, this is them giving it to him as easy as possible. Not like, no, stay with that statement right there. I want to talk about that statement for about 5 or 10 minutes.
I can't figure out if I'm watching the prosecution or the defense at this point. This is nuts.
You are not alone. I
No
have
further
felt.
questions.
I have
All
felt
right.
my-
So I'm going to see you at sidebar so I don't interrupt your cross.
Oh, is he done? He's done.
He's
Still-
done.
He's done with Proctor Lanu.
I
We're
mean,
about
what
to
else
see a
can you?
cross.
Yeah, but defense is, or was that defense? I've lost track.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to defend the validity of the case and the investigation, even though this guy doesn't have any credibility whatsoever with the jurors, as you're reading here in the ticker at the below. As he said that he didn't find any naked pictures of her, Juror 3 shook her head in disgust, mouthed something, and looked away, and Juror 12 opened her mouth in shock, rolled her eyes, and then looked away from him in disgust. There is no coming back from this. Again, until you see the jury's faces, you can't understand how truly over this they are. So that is
I'll
a
tell you-
eyewitness inside the courtroom.
I'll tell you, I agree with John on this. This gives cops a bad name. This guy's a scumbag.
I can totally see bullshitting around with your friends and joking around with your friends, and you're not thinking that your phone is gonna be, exposed. Like when you kind of give some, off the wall humor to your friends on the side, like, what do you think I'm doing? Grabbing a dress and being a little, or something. I can see how you joke around, but you wouldn't say that publicly. But yeah, this is like your worst fucking nightmare. And then looking over there at John's mom sitting there, like, this is the person who did the investigation. They're all sitting there talking to the mom saying, Mom, are we sure that Karen Reed did this? Are we sure? Because this is bad. And John's
I couldn't
mom is
imagine.
just sitting there, dude. But also Karen's Reed's mom and dad are behind her. And to hear this police officer that arrested her and allegedly planted evidence, to hear what he had to say behind her back to his friends, that has to be hard to listen to also.
And I cannot imagine the emotions O'Keefe's mom has right now. From-
Dante pointed out even Paul O'Keefe stopped doing his permanent evil stare at Karen. I mean, she is probably embarrassed. I mean, I don't know if you're happy because you're on trial for murder, and this right here is what you've been waiting for to come out. But even for Karen, that's got to be hard to hear that people are like,
yeah.
look, she's got a leaky balloon knot, and and she didn't really have an ass at all. And Yannetti, oh yeah, her client, I'm looking for nudes right now, and just those kind of things. it doesn't give anybody who was on that text message chain any credibility whatsoever. The whole police department needs to be the federal investigation. I can see why they're investigating it and auditing the local police departments and state police department, and the state police department has an office in the local, Canton Police Department, and so does the ATF agent is in on it too, and he's in the Canton Police Department with an office, and the chief of police in the Canton Police Department, and he's planting evidence. I don't know where you start, because even if you started from scratch, you still need to hire the good cops back. I mean, how do you get rid? How deep does it go? I mean, is there any way to uproot this and still hang on to the Canton Police Department and the Boston Police Department? And I think if I was a good cop and I was a cop that was never took a bribe and didn't really do things wrong, it would be a fucking smack in the face to be a part of this, where everyone's looking at that police department and all of those police officers are this and that, when it's really probably just about 5 or 6 of them that are in on this. The rest of them, it doesn't really concern them. They're still doing good work, but it's a smack in the face to the good cops that are working there.
And on the same note, I mean, just think about, and I'm sure there's going to be some terminations and maybe even people quitting for whatever reason. But I wouldn't want to go work for an agency that has that. I mean, I understand it's a
reputation,
right? A handful of officers, but that agency, the Massachusetts State Police, that's a scar on them. This dude's over their homicide division.
Yeah, I guarantee you,
God almighty,
if you were running through the Chick-fil-A with your blue line on the bottom, they would not be giving you a fucking sweet tea.
Oh, I guarantee you get an unsweet tea and a dry chicken biscuit.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't serve police officers around here. Beat it.
But I mean, I'm serious, and that's what I said earlier. This right here, this is the worst I have ever seen or heard of. I mean, I know it happens. That's why I said seen or heard of. But this right here, it does not help law enforcement as a whole at all.
Dante's seeming to think that maybe what happens in Boston might even permeate all the way to North Carolina, and your teas might be shot anyway.
So Dante, I actually
take your blue light off for the egg.
I went to the beach about 3 years ago, and I always back in. It's a cop thing. At the hotel, no lie, went to eat one night and come back. My low tire pressure.
You are unmuted.
All right.
And
So
got back, my
just
damn tire had
before
been
you
stabbed
start
in
then,
the
so we'll
side.
finish it
And I-
4. We're trying to figure out the schedule. There's time I'm going to need with the lawyers and witnesses. We're trying to work all that out, but as it looks right now, I thought it was going to interfere with another day this week. As it looks right now, it may not. At the most, it will be half an afternoon or something, maybe on Friday, but it does now look good that we'll be able to continue with this. We're out tomorrow, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be full days, and we'll be able to keep moving. All right. All right, Mr. Jackson, go right ahead.
Anyway, I got my tire slash
Proctor, in the
because of a
summer
blue
of
line.
2022, August 17th specifically, you were sitting at your desk, presumably alone at your office, at about 10 p.m. at night, going through my client's personal cell phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, you were sitting there texting with your friends and colleagues at Massachusetts State Police about you going through her personal cell phone. Is that right?
Correct, sir.
And that included Trooper DeChico. Is that right?
DeChico, yes, sir.
Trooper Fanning,
Chico.
Trooper Buchnick, Trooper Moore, and Trooper Katzkowski.
Kakowski.
Tell me that again.
Kakowski.
Kakowski.
Yes, sir.
All right. All
And
the
Bukaki
consonants
too
are
was in
silent.
the
Fair
text
enough.
chain.
Trooper Fanning and Trooper Buchnick are your supervisors.
Yes.
Wow.
And you were bragging to all 5 of them that you were going through Karen Reed's cell phone about 9:45 at night.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I'll
right?
allow it. Hell yeah, I'm allowed
No,
that.
I wasn't bragging, sir.
How did you refer to Ms. Reed in that text exchange where you informed them that you were going through her phone?
I use regrettable language. I said going through his retarded client's phone right now.
You were shown a photograph of my colleague, Mr. Unetti, correct?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Same document. Your Honor, I think the court has the copy that I was going to use.
I thought I gave him back to you.
Do you have to, Joe? Do you have to put him into the hospital for a suicide attempt just in case, just to make sure he's cool? Give him evaluation after this.
Put him on suicide watch.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely not leave him alone with any sharp objects
I think
tonight.
he's away from the mic right now.
You'd received a photograph. Actually, Your Honor, if I could, I would ask that this document be marked as next in order. Assuming the witness verifies its authenticity.
So go ahead.
Do you recognize this document?
I do, sir.
Same document that you were shown, copy of the same document that you were shown by Mr. Unetti, correct?
Stilali.
I've done that twice. Mr. Lally.
Correct.
All right. Is that a true and accurate reflection of the text messages that you were exchanging with Chris Moore, Jeff Kakowski, John Fanning, Vito DiCicco, and Yuri Buchanan?
Get his reading glasses.
Yes.
Your boss, the guy that was just testifying,
Any
Bukaki.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll see you outside down there. Have that, please.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think he's saying? Can you? I mean, I understand he's texting a group. Well, the DA Lally was just like, oh, he's texting a group, but now you're calling all their names out personally, which makes this worse. It's really attacking the credibility of everyone's name that's in this group that you're sharing it with. I'm sure the sidebar is about that, but the fact that he's telling his supervisor, if it's something inappropriate, you think the supervisor would say, oh shit, I mean, you're catching the supervisor off guard as well. And he should have reported that, right, John?
Well, oh, most definitely. I mean, I'd have been on the phone saying, yo, what the hell are you doing? I mean, his supervisor in essence is condoning what he's doing.
Yeah, there's no plausible deniability, that's for sure.
No. And correct me if I'm wrong, aren't the text messages that he has already read before the text messages now that he's reading? And if that's the case, that should have been put a stop to way back before now. There should be no text messages in this text group that he set up about anything about the case at this point, if it's in chronological order.
Also, yeah, true. And also something that's interesting is the fact that he still has a job and he's an active duty police officer for the Massachusetts State Police. And so does Sergeant Buchanan, or whatever the fuck his name is. Buchanan is also an active duty sergeant in the. There's no way that they should be coming to work tomorrow and still patrolling the streets or doing any kind of law enforcement work whatsoever.
No.
After today, if you're still fucking patrolling the streets, even if you did arrest someone red-handed, any lawyer in America that's in that courtroom is going to say, well, Your Honor, let me pull up this case in this instance where they did these things. So therefore, just as a credibility stuff, he has no more credibility in any courtroom doing any more law enforcement.
Well, and here's the thing nobody's mentioned, and I know every state's different, but they're going to go back and review all of his cases especially where there's been a conviction. And if there's one little thing that sticks out, says, they're either going to be overturned or there's going to be a new trial. Because like you said, his credibility on this right here is shot.
Well, the Massachusetts State Police Department, the Canton Police Department, their credibility is shot. If they want to save the credibility of their department, the state police department, if they want to keep their credibility at all, there has to be someone on the chopping block, and it has to be them, and it has to be fucking right now.
Well, so
Not
Mike-
administrative leave,
Go ahead,
nothing. You
John.
have to be gone fucking right now, period. Retirement, you want some benefits, we'll work those details out, but you can't even show up here. I'll send your fucking shit home to you, or I'll have
Yeah.
a deputy drop off whatever's in your desk. Don't even fucking report to work tomorrow. There's going to be fucking news reporters everywhere waiting for you to show up to work tomorrow and say, oh, he's still working here. Don't even show your face around here again.
so
That's, I
there
mean,
is-
seriously.
no,
seriously.
and so this is what I was saying the other week. I found a website. Is the title of it's the Mass Dump, a massive dump of Massachusetts public records. So you can go in and type in whatever. I mean, in the search criteria. But what I've been doing is typing in their last names, and it comes up: last name, first name, middle, ID number, hire date, case number, receive date, incident type, allegation, classification, subclassification, finding, and action taken. If you don't put anything in the search field, every Massachusetts state trooper comes up in alphabetical order by last
You
name.
are unmuted.
There's a ton in there that
Yeah.
some of these violations are bad, and it was 7 days off.
All these police officers, I know exactly where they are right now. They're at the fucking phone store getting a brand new phone, cutting up SIM cards,
Oh,
and destroying them, dude. Every one of them. It's like there is 10 police officers at the fucking phone store.
Like, yeah.
Oh my God. This is like a worst nightmare, especially when you can't say it wasn't you because they have his phone records. And it has your phone and he was texting. So it's like, sorry, dude. I didn't know it was going to come to
This
this. My bad. Just like how long to die in cold at 2 o'clock,
Yes.
3 hours before the body's found. Whoops.
Trooper Proctor, Trooper DeChico had sent you a photograph of my colleague, Mr. Yannetti, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, because of the technical issue, I'm not going to display on the television. May I display this hard copy?
Yeah, but how can they? Joe says unions. How can even a union
gentlemen?
back them?
I do, sir.
Is that the
Man, I know they
photograph
will.
that you received?
The unions
Yes.
stick
Is that
together.
what you referred to on direct examination with Mr. Lally about?
You can't
receiving
fire
a
someone
photograph
without
of Mr.
union.
Mr. Yannetti.
Correct.
And then your response was what?
I
hate that man. I truly hate that man.
Would be overflowing.
Actually, your response was, I'm going through his retarded client's phone right now, correct?
Yes, after the picture, sir. Yes.
Who's the retarded client?
Oh, shit.
I was referring to Miss Reed again, unprofessional language.
I'm asking who you were referring to.
Miss
I know
Reed.
You got an explanation. Who was it you were referring to as retarded?
Miss Reed.
Karen Reed, the woman sitting to my left.
Yes, sir.
The subject of your investigation as a professional, correct?
Yes, sir.
As an
College
unbiased,
professor.
objective investigator. The person that you were investigating, you referred to your bosses as retarded, correct?
Again, poor language on my part.
Poor language is one way to put it. Completely offensive is another way to put it, right?
Objection.
I've got to sustain that, Mr. Jackson.
But I want to allow it.
Yeah.
After you referred to my client as retarded, then you decided to make a comment about Mr. Yannetti, her lawyer, correct?
Correct.
And what did you say about Mr. Yannetti again?
I hate that man. I truly hate that man.
I hate that man. I truly hate him,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct.
You didn't say I dislike him, disagree with him. You said I hate him, correct?
Correct, sir.
That's a visceral response to someone who's just doing a job, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
Sure. Let me ask it this way.
And I'd love
Were
to
you
hear you
upset
ask it differently.
Or annoyed or pissed off that Karen Reed had gotten representation, legal representation, to represent her?
No, not at all. That's her right.
Well, let me ask you this. In August of 2022, you said you absolutely hate him, correct?
I don't know if I use absolutely. Yeah, I didn't use absolutely, sir.
You used truly, correct?
Truly, yes.
How do you feel about him now? He's sitting right there.
I still don't care
Objection.
for him, no.
I'll let it stand.
I still don't care for him.
That's the first honest thing you said.
Well, what can you say? You know, it's already been said. You know, you guys.
What did you tell your colleagues that you
True.
were
Be a
looking
man.
for as you sat at almost 10 p.m. at night on a Wednesday night, August 17th, 2022, looking through Karen Reed's phone?
I didn't tell them I was looking through anything. They knew I was going through Miss Reed's phone. I provided a inappropriate joke as an update. They knew I was going through location data, text messages, Google searches. But like I had mentioned earlier, I had to stop.
Except Trooper Proctor, none of that really professional sounding stuff ended up in your comments to your bosses, did it?
Again, it was a poor joke.
Is that yes or no?
They did not know.
It did not.
No,
As a
sir.
matter of fact, what did you write after you talked about going through the quote retarded client's phone?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
No nudes so far.
No nudes so far,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct.
And you said that to your bosses.
Yes, sir.
You were looking for naked photographs of Miss Reed on a Wednesday night as you sat in your office at
Well, no.
9:44 p.m. Correct?
No, not correct.
Let me
Were
ask you
you
a question. Have you
were you
ever looked
bleach
for
bidding it?
naked photos of a male suspect that you were investigating?
I don't look for naked photos in anyone's phones.
But you said you were looking for nudes of Miss Reed.
Like I had
correct?
said, Mr. Jackson, it was an inappropriate joke.
Only if they have a bleached
Sir,
balloon
this is a
knot. You
citizen.
know what I mean?
She's a woman. You were supposed to be objectively investigating. Does your text message to your colleagues at Massachusetts State Police reflect an objective investigation of a citizen?
Objection.
You can get part of that question and ask it again.
And I would love for you to ask it again, please.
Do you believe that your text messages were reflective of an objective investigator?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Do you believe that, Trooper Proctor?
I believe poor jokes have, in unprofessional language, have no bearing on the integrity and the facts and physical evidence of this case.
It's not that
buddy,
they don't have
you're
any
done.
bearing on the facts and integrity. It's that they have no place in a professional investigation because it shows bias, right?
Objection.
So I have to sustain that as asked. Go ahead and ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, ask it again differently.
You weren't so much as objectively investigating Karen Reed as objectifying her, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Isn't that right?
Rephrase the question, please.
You
Old Bev's
weren't so
gotten pretty
much
liberal.
Objectively investigating her as
Yeah, the judge is
objectifying
leading
her
the defense here, I
in
think.
those moments, correct?
Oh, she's pissed, and I don't blame her.
Again, Mr. Jackson, it was
Telling
a
you it was the
poor
balloon
choice
knot
of
that got
words
her.
and a joke that I should not have texted out. But from the start of the investigation, we didn't know what we had.
And your Trooper Proctor,
You knew it was her from the fucking
your
beginning.
point
Look at your
in
phone.
saying no nudes so far to your colleagues in Massachusetts State Police was to suggest that you were looking for nudes and you'd update them when you found them, correct?
Incorrect.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you find any nudes of
Again.
Karen Reed?
I didn't go through the photos, sir.
Did you find any nudes? of
I don't
Karen
believe
Reed?
that.
I didn't go through the photos, sir.
You weren't successful in your quest.
I came across text messages from Miss Reed to another attorney on January 29th, so I had to stop looking through her phone.
So you got sidetracked before you could get to
I
the
thought you
naked
took the
pictures.
phone
Is that what you're saying?
a couple hours
Sustained.
later.
Did he have a warrant? Did he have a warrant when he was going through the phone? Do we know that yet?
No. No, he
To be
said he went
clear,
through the
when you
phone
sent
in
those
August.
text messages
Yeah, so he would have had a warrant by then.
on that group chat.
Yeah, she had handed over the phone.
Those text
But,
messages included, as we
but if
said,
she handed
or as
over
you
the
said,
phone, he said he was using that
not one
software.
but two of your
Gray
supervisors,
key.
correct?
Correct.
Were
to
you ever
crack it open.
reprimanded
So
for
why
your
didn't you
conduct?
get a warrant?
in sending that text message?
Objection.
So that's sustained. Do we need to go to sidebar based on what you told me earlier?
We do not.
Okay,
I'll
so,
ask it a different way.
okay.
Did either Trooper Fanning or Trooper Buchanan dress you down in a responsive text message in that text thread for doing something so abhorrent as looking for nudes or referring to nudes of a female suspect or subject of your investigation?
I bet the answer is
Did that
no.
ever happen?
Not that I can recall.
Buchanan, you're fired,
Matter
dog.
of
Back to Russia.
I wouldn't be able to
in
remember
reference to one of the text messages in this same string, your boss, Yuri Buchanan, actually responded to the photo of Mr. Yannetti, didn't he?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. You want to get this one right, bud. Look how red your face is.
Yeah, you can stick a fork in.
He
him.
did, sir.
He's on suicide watch tonight, right, Joe?
After you received the photo,
12-hour hold at least.
that's
man.
when you
100%.
said, I'm, quote, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. Is that right?
Objection.
I'd be on the way to pick up his car right now.
Is that correct? It's on the top of page
Yes, sir.
685.
That's correct.
And Yuri Buchanan liked that comment. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone.
Yes, he
I
did.
see you laughed at an image here, sir.
Oh, he laughed. It was funny. Yeah, he laughed at it.
I can't tell if he liked that comment, sir.
May I approach?
He didn't
Yes.
like it. He loved it.
I don't know if it's just because it's faded or
Oh, it's faded. Look at this.
yeah, my copy's faded.
Top 2685.
Elbow him right in the face, dude.
All right.
There's
Thank
some
you.
action going on here.
What do you see on the top of that page?
That it, Sergeant Buchanan liked it.
Like what?
The going through his retarded client's phone, sir.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna need your badge and your gun before you leave this fucking room, dude.
So your supervisors at Massachusetts State Police not only didn't ride you for making comments like this, he encouraged it.
Objection.
Sustained.
Trooper Proctor, this is your direct chain of command. Is that right? Yuri Buchanan?
Yes, sir.
Not wrong, Dante.
Did you believe that your conduct was a misuse of your authority and power as you were going through her phone in August of 2022?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No, I had a warrant signed by a district clerk, Stoughton District Clerk, to go through Miss Reed's phone.
To look for
I don't
nudes.
think it was an abuse of power. I had every right to go through that phone.
Did the warrant say anything about looking for nudes? of my client?
Objection.
Did it
Did it say
No,
say anything about that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, next one.
did.
So that would be an abuse of the power that was given to you by the court, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Oh, this is good. Get your popcorn.
Trooper Proctor, you'd agree that the hallmark of any good investigation, as you've been taught and others in the Massachusetts State Police have been taught, is that the investigation and the investigator have to be fair. They have to be impartial. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Meaning that the investigation has to be free of conflicts, right?
Yes, sir.
The investigator has to be free of conflicts, right?
Yes,
The investigation has to be free of bias. Is that right?
correct.
You can't be biased against the person that you're investigating. That would compromise the entire thing, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Basically, you follow the evidence. You're supposed to follow the evidence wherever it takes you, right?
correct.
Good or bad, top to bottom, just follow the evidence and report it back. That's how an investigation is supposed to be run, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And these are things that you learn early on at Massachusetts State Police Academy and then in your detective training. Isn't that right?
It is.
And
This one led to
literally,
nudes.
It's part of an oath that you took at the academy that you will, quote, faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent on you as a Massachusetts State Police trooper, right?
Yes, sir.
You swore that oath.
I did.
When you start an investigation, everybody in that investigation should be treated exactly the same. Don't you believe that's true?
Correct.
Everybody, have you ever heard the phrase, everybody's a suspect until they're not? Right?
I've-
Objection.
Sustained.
It's
Control your
especially
breathing. Control your
important
breathing.
early in an investigation, before all of the facts are known, that the investigator is not compromised by bias, prejudice, right?
Correct.
Most important early in the investigation, because that's when the most things are up in the air. There's the cloud, the fog of not knowing exactly what the truth is, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
In other words, Trooper Proctor, you don't get to pick a suspect and then try to find evidence to support your choice, right?
Correct.
But in this case, it's exactly what you did, isn't it?
Absolutely not.
All right, Mr. Jackson, why don't we end for today?
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
good.
No.
Okay, all right.
We have 911
So
people
folks,
watching.
now,
Let's
tomorrow,
go.
Those same 3 cautions, please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, read.
Well
anything
played,
about the
Dante.
case,
Well played. I saw
please
what you did there.
disregard it. Let us know. We'll see you Wednesday morning. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right now, it's anticipated will be full days of testimony with short ones.
All right. Does Proctor need his attorney? Does Proctor need his attorney?
He needs somebody to keep an eye on him for suicide. What he needs.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, only because I want to hear what else he has to say, not because I give a shit.
My guess is he's not going home to his wife tonight.
Boy, look at that face. She eyeballing him all the way out.
Golly day, man.
All right, so one last time at sidebar for scheduling, okay?
Let's talk about that balloon knot sidebar now.
Oh no.
I'm telling you, that has to be the comment that got her. She's heard the other words in court, but the balloon knot, I think,
Yep.
got the judge. She definitely changed her
Googled that during the
tune.
break.
She
Yep.
changed her tune towards this witness. She's asked a lot of people to speak up, and we're going to have to turn the air conditioner off. Could you please speak up? She wasn't like that with him.
No.
No.
She's like, speak up. You can answer it. I'll allow it. Ask it a different way. I want to hear it too.
I know. Yeah. 100%.
Joe, I don't know if you were back or not. So, and I know every agency is different and states are different, but if with Proctor's testimony today, with the him showing bias and all this, and especially with some of with the text that he has had, the inappropriate text he's had, would they not go back, especially if they end up terminating him, would they not go back and review all his prior cases that ended in a conviction?
The DA's office will probably go back and I know what you're saying. The DA's office will probably go back and review anything that's pending that hadn't gone to court yet. That's going to be their first rule of first action that they have to put him on the stand. What cases do we need to use him again? And they'll make a determination at that point. But the
It's
real
fucking
problem
hilarious.
for him is, and for the agency, is that every defense attorney on every case that his name is on, they're going to go back and they're going to try to get cell phone data. They're probably going to do that for any police
Yeah,
in that
that's-
agency.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought. I just wasn't. Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely not a good thing for a police officer. We've talked about this on the show too, like a Brady letter when an officer gets caught lying.
Did the search warrant say that? Answer, punk. Now. Be like,
Yeah, I will allow that.
Great question. Did the search warrant say, "Are you to look for nudes"?
Well, the bus is rolling over a bunch of people right now because joking with
yeah.
your buddies is one thing, but your supervisors are in on that. And they didn't put a stop to that. And
Well-
that's rough.
Look, as a police officer, your notebook, your cell phone that you use for work, all that stuff it can be drug into court. So even when you're texting with your buddies, you shouldn't be doing that. And I'll say that I'm probably guilty of it over my tenure before I really realized how that really worked. But no, absolutely, you keep your phone. That stuff's just not in it. You don't put it in your notepad. You don't do anything. What's this, Joe? Please continue about the process when a police officer gets caught lying. It's called a Brady letter. If an officer's caught being untruthful and it can be proven, like say on a sworn document or in testimony, the agency or the DA's office will typically issue what's called a Brady letter on this officer. They go on a list, and then the DA's office can also send to all the agencies that deal with this one officer saying, we won't accept any cases with his name on it because we can't put him on the stand because he's been proven to be untruthful. In Texas, it ends your career as a law enforcement officer because you're really not useful anymore. You're a cop that can't testify? I mean, nobody does that. no agency is going to keep anybody around that can't go to court.
All right. So how does Proctor? Hey, Proctor just walks himself out and just goes home and whatever. Or what would if you were in control of the situation and whatever would have to happen? What would you do from this point forward before he walks out? Would you what? Take his gun,
As
badge,
his
suicide watch?
supervisor,
Just anything. Just what do you think should happen to him, or who do you think should step in at this point? You know, just anybody involved.
Well, didn't you say there's an internal investigation going on?
there's an ongoing investigation of him violating procedures. I'm sure what we just heard is a big part of that. But B's asking another question. When lying on the stand, B, if an officer gets caught lying on the stand, absolutely, that would be a Brady letter. But he also has more issues because you're under oath at that point of actual criminal charges. So either the criminal charges or the Brady letter would end your career at that point. You just can't lie on the stand. As a police officer, good, bad, or the ugly. That's what Kingdom was saying earlier. Well, how would you try to frame or cover this up? Well, you don't. When you're caught, you caught, and it's there. If you're asked, you've got to tell the truth. It is the crutch and the basis of our system, and there's got to be teeth in it when an officer violates that. And any jurisdiction that doesn't uphold that, in my opinion, is the people inside that jurisdiction that they're being governed by. They need to approach that and get rid of people.
All right, thank you very much.
All rise for the court, please.
So what I was getting at is, would you think that at some point you're going to take his gun and badge away as he's leaving the court? Would you put someone on him to kind of keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't harm himself? Would you take him straightly to the police station and put him on an interview process if you were going to terminate him, or put him on a temporary leave of suspension until an investigation's done? Or what would you do here?
You don't have really a whole lot of leeway to do any of that. You might have a talk to the guys like, hey, hope you're going okay, pat him on the back, tell him it's going to be okay, that kind of stuff. But there's not a whole lot you can do.
You just report to work the next day, or whenever. There's no court tomorrow. Just report to work tomorrow and act like nothing happened.
Well, you're acting like this is the first time they're knowing about it. I promise you, everyone knew what was happening when he got on the stand. The defense, the prosecution knew. His supervisors knew. None of this is new. It's not fresh information.
It's just got, like you said, it doesn't matter what fucking Turtle Boy said and all these other fucking people on social media say. It's what you can prove in court. Now, today is the day everyone knows. It ain't someone talking shit on fucking online. Everyone knows it now. So it's different. Starting right this second, it's different. Tomorrow, does he show up to work tomorrow?
Well, I think if anything, he's put on paid leave pending the investigation outcome, and then.
But he wasn't on an investigation yesterday. He wasn't on paid leave yesterday or last week or the week before when they knew about this. But
he's
now
on.
that it's in
He's
court,
on something. I don't know if he's on paid leave, but he's on some sort of. He's not He's not actively investigating any cases right now.
Oh, he's not.
I believe that's what his status is pending this investigation.
I thought he was on maybe. Yeah. I thought I read that he was on active and he was still an active duty police officer as of last week. And I was like, how is he still patrolling the streets and stuff? After what I'd heard, the stuff that was going to come out in court, but now that it's come out, that's really taking the cat out of the bag. You can't suppress that. They had to get in front of it. And just on the Commonwealth making the case, it was terrible. And Alan Jackson is far from done with him. I guarantee it.
Oh, he's free to pursue his hobby of looking for nudes.
Free to pursue your hobby.
You got plenty of time to do that now.
Yeah. What do you think the conversation is going to be like with the wife and the neighbors when you pull in the driveway at home from work? You just rush right inside real quick, or do you think we're going to
go in and face your wife? I'd probably rather talk to my neighbors.
Yeah. Is it one of those things like,
I think I talk to nobody. I go home. I talk to nobody.
This is the one where the news cameras are in your face, like when you're like leaving the courtroom and you got like the fucking thing over your head where you're just getting rushed into the police car. But you're actually the one driving the police car. You're like, fuck it. Did he drive a police car to the trial today, you think, or just took his personal vehicle? Which one?
You know what? I don't know what his status is, to be quite honest with you. So it's hard to say.
What would you do in that? I mean, hypothetically.
What do you mean? What would I do if I
Would you
was Proctor?
Yeah, if you hypothetically, if you were getting ready to get your ass handed to you in court, you knew it, you already got prepped over the weekend, would you would drive your police car to court today, or would you just
I wouldn't.
drive your civilian car?
Oh, I wouldn't, because I know damn
Oh,
good
you're-
well. they're
Well, hang on.
probably-
You're looking at this. Sorry, John, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're looking at this like the public knowing is going to make a difference in his status on the police force. I think whether the public knew the details or his testimony or not, I think they knew everything he's testifying to. They knew that he went into the phone. They knew that he had inappropriate text messages and comments about the defense attorney and the client. They know that it looks like it wasn't a fair investigation, that they weren't just chasing leads, that maybe they did have his text messages make it look like be damned what evidence is, whatever it takes, we're going to get her because she's a bitch. That's it. And so that's the biggest problem. So I don't know that today's testimony affects his actual status. It's probably just as much jeopardy as it was yesterday as it is today, and it will be tomorrow.
Well, I wouldn't say she's a bitch. I would say she's a cunt with a leaky balloon knot retard, that doesn't even have the common courtesy to leave some nudes for me to find. I
Well,
mean,
evidently that is the temperament or the opinion of Trooper Proctor as well.
No, I'm just taking a page out of his book. I mean, more of just men talk, locker room talk. I mean, that's pretty much what he said. I mean, kind of.
Would that make him a proctologist?
Ooh, a proctologist.
No, he could make it as a proctologist. He's down. He don't like a leaky balloon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that he was giving his medical opinion. That's some bullshit. When he said, it was really more of a medical term, the leaky balloon knot, and it probably wasn't the best thing to use that medical reference. It's like, oh my god, dude, wait till Alan Jackson starts. He only got through the retard one. He pretty much set up like a Don King in between Yannetti and fucking Proctor. He's like, oh, so you called him a something like this, and you hate him, don't you? And it's like, okay, they're like trying to set up and stage a fight, collect some money about who's going to win in this fight out in the parking lot after this. But the whole thing was fucking entertaining, man. I'm glad I caught this one. This is probably one of the best shows and the best days of court. If you caught the doctors, if it was your first time catching one of those doctors testifying on these details, and I was like, I'm sorry, I promise it gets better. Today is the day where you're like, man, it definitely got better. This is going to be a show that we probably play over and over and get clips from, and the whole thing, man. This has been a great show. I've enjoyed all of it.
Well, I didn't have a night court planned for the night. We're going down to 3 nights a week, but I think we may do a night court special edition night, take some of this audio from his testimony and play it and see what other people think about it.
Dude, just some timestamps. All you need is some timestamps, because this one is just pure gold. As soon as someone asks the question and then stop, and then people can talk about it, then play the answer, and then get in the panel, I can definitely see that one being running this stream 24 hours a day until further notice.
This was very entertaining. I am very glad I was off work today for once.
And just think, the defense is just getting started. I promise you, they don't have 5 or 6 questions for this guy. He is going to sit up there. They're going to make him sweat for at least another day. When's another trial? The next date is what? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
But
that's a damn shame.
But I think that judge forgot that they were going to cover these motions on. They were going to listen to this voir dire on Wednesday. I think she agreed to that this morning.
I
So I
that's
think-
what we're doing tomorrow.
I think they had some other business to handle tomorrow and
Oh, okay.
Tuesday. So I think the next day when court resumes on Wednesday, that they were going to handle some of this voir dire from these expert witnesses that the FBI. I don't know. You haven't heard this story on Tactical, but basically when the FBI grand jury, when they were investigating this case, it's kind of on a hush-hush, even though they've been bringing out testimony from this federal grand jury. The FBI paid 3 independent experts, the FBI experts, the FBI paid for them to do a crash reconstruction that were like for vehicle homicides and vehicle, accidents and stuff. And all 3 of them, 3 out of 3 came back and said, there's no way that the injuries that are on John O'Keefe were caused by this car running into him. All 3 of them said that. The defense didn't pay. It wasn't like a whore, like the name was like, there wasn't a whore that you pay him money and they say whatever you want them to. This is actually FBI crash experts are all saying there's no way this happened. That's what they're going to hear on Wednesday in this. And the prosecution is objecting. They don't want these 3 experts.
Well, of course not. Yeah.
But they're not even,
And
they're
they
not
do.
from, they didn't even pay for them. They're from the FBI.
Yeah.
But they didn't have access to that. So that's what Wednesday's for, to hear their testimonies. I think Alan said one would take about 2 hours, one would take 10 minutes, one would take 15 minutes. That's what the shit was about this morning. So they can hear their testimony, see what they're going to say, make a judgment if the jury's allowed to hear what they have to say. So that'll be on Wednesday. There'll be no jury on Wednesday. But we will hear from those witnesses without the jury. I'm sure the jury will be watching on TV at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
No,
Yeah.
no, the
I mean,
jury's
wouldn't
not going to be watching on TV.
I would. I mean, it's like,
I would too.
I mean, it's like after you heard all this, it's like there's no way. I mean, if there's something going on in that court, I've had a front row seat for 7 weeks, and now you're going to talk about the good stuff, and I'm not allowed to hear it. I'm going to somehow get on my phone and watch that for sure.
Yeah, there's not a Hollywood movie I would watch over this today.
God, Wednesday or Thursday or whenever court picks up, and they got to put Proctor back on the stand, I guarantee he looks like he's had a little bit more mileage on him than he does today.
Yeah.
I would say, what do you think, Joe? You think he's sleeping on the couch already, or what do you think's going on there? Just
Man, it's hard. It's hard to
Hard to
say.
tell.
Who knows whether he's what he's dealing with on a personal issue, but it's not positive. And this is going to be even more. And I'm sure he's like not made it common knowledge to everyone that he knows, but now everyone he knows and people he doesn't know, now they know. So balloon knot, cunt, looking for nudes, all these things are going to start
from that retard.
From that retard, all these things will be quips coming back and forth. And I don't think he would be handled very well amongst his law enforcement peers. It wouldn't be in Texas where I'm at. You would be a pariah, 100%.
Yeah. And then, so earlier we had a one of these whose dick's bigger type of conversations between you and I was trying to say that was it Bukaki or Bukanik or Bukanik? I was saying that he wouldn't have a job when it's all said and done, when this thing's all said and done. Do you still stick to that you think he will?
He's going to have some issues maybe because of the text messages. But
Uh-huh.
aside from that, I don't think he's got any huge issues. And you got to remember, these guys have unions up there. If you get fired, then you go through the appeal process and go through years of back and forth, eventually get your job back. So I'm not a proponent of law enforcement having unions, to be quite honest with you.
Have you heard enough from whatever's happened today that you still haven't heard enough that Bukaki can keep his job, or you think there hasn't been enough yet? Just that little bit of you were on a text message, that's not enough to get rid of someone based on the union, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll have union protections. I mean, John spoke about it earlier that these guys he went through, I don't know how many documents of some pretty serious offenses where they get like 7 days off. What was the super duper search guy, the lieutenant that's over the super duper search team that couldn't find anything?
The CERT team.
He had failed a drug and alcohol test, and he got 7 days vacation taken from him. So what do you think is going to happen with an inappropriate text message?
Yeah.
You tell me, does he have a job or not?
Well, when it's all said and done, when the trial's over and the full investigation of the trial is over, and if you do produce the 2 different types of shoes or something else like that comes up where it's like you had this document and Alan Jackson can somehow prove that you planted that, it's just without a doubt. I mean, if there is some kind of smoking gun like that, oh yeah, he's cooked and Bukaki's cooked. and all these other people who have been lying about it that clearly knew about it. It's not just going to be them two, but them two for sure, because they both had they were hand in hand those first couple of days.
So was there an answer in all that? Did I miss it?
It was, as of right now, I'm with you. But what I was telling you is that by the time he's done, we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. I'm just telling you, I think by the time Alan Jackson's done with his cross with Proctor, I think he's toast. Because this is just the beginning.
I think Proctor was toast prior to this. I think they're on to him. I think everything that these text messages, they just didn't come to light today. The
But
prosecution had them. The
Buchanan-
defense had them. Buchanan. I don't
he
know.
wasn't really. I mean, Buchanan is. You can kind of play the not plausible deniability. I didn't have no parts of covering up shit and planting evidence. I was just with him, and this is what we seen. But you broke the taillight. You towed her shit. You knew you had to tow her stuff before you even seen the cracked taillight. The other guy came today and said that he looked at it and it was just cracked. It wasn't all busted out like that. And then now you hear all this other stuff he's doing. It's not just going to be. I mean, Proctor, he's cooked. Proctor's fucking burnt ash. He's just, you're beating a dead horse, but we just have to give it out because the jury needs to hear all this stuff. But Buchanan, his first day, he looked good. Second day, he looked kind of shaky. He was clearly like kind of covering up some stuff, and now you know why. But will Buchanan be able to keep his job after Proctor's done testifying? That's the, Proctor, yes, but Buchanan, I don't know. I think he'll be toast too.
I'm sorry. Unions or not, you think this department's going to have to axe a few people for just PR purposes? I mean, they have to do.
Well, that's honestly untactical. That is one of the reasons that they allow law enforcement unions in some states, is because of to keep law enforcement officers away from the political aspect of it. That they don't become fodder. I'll get rid of this guy to make things better. So I don't think so. I think that's the whole purpose of the unions in the first place there. We don't allow them in Texas. You can have on a municipal level, like city police. They can have some unions, but the union protections aren't as strong in Texas as for law enforcement as they are in other states. On those eastern seaboard states and northern states, they have a lot of protection. You can't get rid of one. That's why I say if somebody had showed up at my agency and they'd failed a drug and alcohol test, they would drop your gun and badge on the table and good luck to you. There, the guy gets 7 days of it. Doesn't even lose real time. He just loses vacation time. 7 days vacation time. So think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm familiar with Texas. I'm not familiar with the power of the unions on the east.
You're
in God's country, my friend. You're safe here.
Well, look, when you are drinking and partying, you have a little weed or just whatever, and you fail a little drug test, it's different than you failed a drug test and it's all over the news, all over the country and all over the world. That's a totally different thing. It's like, if just me and you know about it, 7 days and maybe it gets out, a couple people, it'll go away. It'll be like, come and go, like a wave or a political wave. And then it changes the subject and then something else happens. But this is not something that's going to go away anytime soon. This is going to be a stain on the reputation of law enforcement, Massachusetts State Police, the local and everything. You have to get rid. I mean, if the union says that you can't fire them, they're in some administrative paid leave or something. You just can't show up here. I don't care what the fuck the union says. I'll pay you to stay home if I have to, but you can't have any association with the police department. It'd be my opinion of what you would do here, regardless of the union.
Yeah, it sounds good, what you say, but the other thing is that your personnel record as a law enforcement officer is public record, so that if I have an infraction, they take 7 days of my vacation time away. Every time I get on the stand, the defense can have that information. They're entitled to it. So they can go through and it's like, hey, well, Joe, what about that time that you got caught smoking crack on duty and you got 7 days? Well, yeah, I got smoked crack on duty. Yeah, it happened.
Yeah, I've been punished. There's no sense in punishing me again. I've already been
punished. There's no recourse when you have the unions under those types of protections, but their offenses can't be hidden, as you say, well, as long as nobody knows about it. I think that's where you're going with this. Now that everybody knows what's going to happen to Proctor, nothing. It's the same thing was going to happen
to him
if he
about
didn't
the 7
testify.
days until this big thing happened, now you're like, oh shit, he was suspended for 7 days. But before then, it wasn't like national news that he was suspended for 7 days. Now we know about it. I never even know what the hell's going on over there. Now I know it. Now everyone knows it, and it's different. It hits different.
Okay, sure. Yeah, yeah. Because of the publicity, yes, they're going to fire every one of them. Buchanan is gone too. They'll probably bulldoze his office to make sure that no other officer sits in it because it was on the stand today. It's ridiculous. What you say is ridiculous. That's not the way it works.
I don't know that I'd want to go back to work after the beating the little bit of a beating he took today and what's coming. I don't even know if I'd want to go back to work. I think I'd want to move as far
Buchanan
away
or
as I
Proctor?
could.
Proctor.
Proctor.
Now, Proctor's not going to have a choice. There will be a time that he will be out of a job. The text messages are too damning. And the fact that the whole thing that he's broadcasting out. Now, who did he send? I'm looking to nudes for. There's just cops, or did he send that to his damn? I went to junior high with people text string.
No, they called out the circle of people, and he called out like 5 police officers' names. That apparently it all started because in his circle of trust, I'll call it, in his circle of police officers he texted, they had just gotten the warrant to go through her phone legally in August, and they were texting, okay, you're going through the phone. They're like in anticipation, like, what are you finding? What do you do? Oh, I'm searching for nudes. I'm just joking. But it was like they all knew that the warrant had just happened, and it was the next day. So that's how they explained it, and it makes a little bit of sense, but it's a tough to explain that one.
If I'm not mistaken, that was a text to his supervisor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was his supervisor, and another person was his supervisor's supervisor, and another person who is a sergeant that's above him. So two or three of them he was a subordinate. So these were the people, and then that's why they had to sidebar, because Alan Jackson's naming their names who are on this text message, which is opening up a can of, are they implicated just because they were a recipient of a text message? Yeah, I guess. I mean, but you're connecting them in a huge way. Now they got a lot of explaining to do. Like, you were on this text message group, and now everyone knows it because he called you out by name.
Yeah, and Buchanan, the subordinate officers or peers, there's not going to be a lot of weight on that. But yeah, to Buchanan could be some issues as supervisor, because he should have put a quash to that. It should have been a like it or a thumbs up. It should have been, hey, what the F are you doing?
Or if you just said nothing, you can say that you never seen it, or just pretend that you didn't see that. But the fact that you received it and then you responded by clicking and putting a laugh emoji or a like emoji acknowledges, yes, you've seen it, and you gave them a thumbs up, or you gave them a laugh, or you had a reaction to it, which is proof that you've seen it and you reacted to it. And the reaction, whether it's a thumbs up or a laugh or a cry or any kind of reaction, is terrible. But the laugh emoji is not fun. The thumbs up, I can see how you can connect the dots and say that was a thumbs up for approval. Good job. You're looking for nudes. I mean, nothing looks good when you react to it.
There's nothing good about this, man. What are y'all talking about? Zero good in any of this for law enforcement.
Well, I got the bulldozer for the office, but I know you were kind of connecting the dots, but I think some people around the country are talking about defunding the police, and when you hear shit like this, you're like, well, yeah. I mean, I say it's bullshit, but if they're really putting people in prison and doing this to people, I don't think that they are. I think it's just this one isolated situation, and a couple people kind of worked in concert and not realizing it was going to blow out of proportion like this. They just thought they'd put her in jail for prison for the rest of her life, and they would just go on about their honky-dory life. But it blew up in their face, and rightfully so.
And see, I disagree with you. We learned about it in this case. It's not the first time it's been done. It's kind of like the lady who steals from you and you catch her. It's the first time she stole. The first time you caught her.
But I think it's the first time you found a body on Brian Albert's lawn, and that person was actually in Brian Albert's house. I don't think that happens every Friday.
What about the drug charge? Where a guy gets 10 years in prison? What about the assault down the street? I mean, how many of those investigations were taken with the same type of professionalism?
Yeah, I mean, believe me, maybe it was just reverse psychology. I just wanted you to talk some smack about your fellow police officers, but yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh wait, Dante's got a comment about.
Well,
the
you should come to more night courts. You'll hear me say that many times when we
I'm
talk about
just
Trump. It ain't about Trump. It's about how many people as Americans are being subjected to the boot of the government by bullshit like this.
Yeah. So B is agreeing with you. So we got that. She absolutely agrees with you.
Because B is a great American.
Yeah. And Dante says, I thought it was mates from school, but I didn't watch every Turtle Boy stream. That was a dig at me, I bet.
Yeah, that's true. Dante, you
Yeah.
haven't watched every Turtle Boy stream, so you are far from an expert.
But
Kingdom can tell you everything
exactly
about Turtle
yeah,
Boy,
right.
what his favorite pair of underoos are.
The nudes were just a state trooper group. That's good. And then Dante also fired off most recently. We never know. By the time Alan Jackson is through with the bulldozer, might become the killdozer.
Yeah, I promise you, Proctor is not looking forward to coming back and sitting in that seat. That seat was super hot. Beads of sweat on top of his head. He come in there normal color. He left looking like a pimple coming out of his shirt. His face was so
And
red.
it's just getting started.
It's just getting started. Oh, Big Ron, you did miss a lot, my friend. But we've got it recorded. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I think we'll do a show tonight and go over some of the audio on this. So
And
other
definitely
people can hear
replay this episode Tuesday when there's no court. Just replay this one.
it, without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, you missed a lot, Big Ron. Michael Proctor, we didn't think the Commonwealth was going to call Michael Proctor to the stand because his testimony is just so damning to the case. Even though he's a lead investigator, it's like, I don't really want to call him. And everyone, who are watching online, knows a few reasons why, but they decided to call him and get ahead of it. And the questions that the prosecution was asking him, it was like, I feel for him in a way. Not really feel for him. I just feel just putting yourself in that position that he must be in right now has to be torture. But it was like grab your popcorn type of moment. And then Alan Jackson had about an hour to go ahead and set the tee up and tee off on him. And boy, it was like, Mike Tyson, you're up against the ropes, but your hands are tied, to the turnbuckles. And he was just taking like haymaker after haymaker before they threw in the towel for the day. So he's going back to his corner, and we're hoping that he won't commit suicide between now and, Wednesday afternoon or Thursday when he comes back for another round with Mike. But, it was comical. It was sad. And I think the victim here, the most sad part is the good cops, the people who are really doing, good work as police officers in that area. I feel for those guys because the ones that are doing this kind of stuff are really making them look bad.
Yeah. I also feel for that court reporter because she had to repeat some of that stuff.
Yeah, I called her a CUNT, and then Bev was like, "Nope, no,
You gotta say it.
You're going to say the word."
Yeah, I'm disappointed that she didn't make him explain balloon knot. Describe what that is.
I'm kind of too, because I don't want to Google it. So
that would have been epic. You don't know?
But Alan Jackson
Google
has
it.
covered
In fact,
retard.
It will change the way you look at this when you know what that means.
I bet it will.
It will absolutely change the whole. I'm telling you, that is what old Bev got upset about. That was it.
Let me connect to the old VPN first.
Yeah, don't let anybody know you're looking for that. But I don't want to say it with 1,000 people listening to me exactly what that is. But folks, if you don't know what a balloon knot is, you need to look it up because it puts this whole testimony in perspective as to why the judge changed her demeanor about, I'm not turning the air conditioner off. You speak your ass up.
Yeah.
Speak up. She talked to him like he's a first grader.
Yeah. So basically, Big Ron, he called her a retard. He said, I don't think they got to the part where he just wishes she would just kill herself. I didn't hear that part. Maybe I missed it. I didn't hear that part, but definitely called her a retard, and that she had a leaky balloon knot because she had was it Crohn's disease? So she had a leaky balloon knot, but he was looking for nudes to send to his buddies at work, and they were liking it and stuff like that. But going down through, and also the defense attorney that used to be a prosecutor, Yannetti, he was also telling his friends how he hated her. And then there was also text messages that he had with his sister where she's like telling him, hey, you need to be really concerned about your job. Don't sacrifice your career, right around the time that he possibly could have been planting the evidence. And he was talking to some guy in Tennessee, talking about, we're going to get this bitch, this cunt, he called her a cunt, and we're going to get this cunt, and we're going to, make sure that she gets convicted on this. And then he was also texting his other police officer buddies when they were saying, how come you didn't go to the ME's office? Now she said this, and they had to go back because the true story is she had one cause of death, and then they had to recant that and do another one, and then again a third time. But his buddies were like, hey, you shouldn't have, you should have went and done this. I should have just did it myself if I'd have known this was going to happen. And then he was like, no, if you would have did it, it would have been by accident or something. And then he went and fixed it. But they have all of the text messages from Proctor, and it was so damning but so entertaining. It was so entertaining in a sick way.
All right.
No,
so
it was entertaining.
I got the balloon knot thing. I didn't need to look that up.
You did? What did you see? Describe it
I-
for the listeners.
No, we're not doing that. I understood that part of it. I was thinking maybe there was something else I was missing. I got the connection.
Well, I didn't get it at first until I had to look it up to find out what it was, but it changed the whole aspect of what he was saying, and it's worse than the CUNT in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
thanks,
100%.
thanks, Vet. I'm glad you looked that up for yourself. Now you know.
Yeah, that's actually a verb in the UK or Australia. I guess he's talking about the balloon knot.
What's it a verb for?
I don't know. But yeah, I guess Dante's saying that some men are into that kind of thing. So, and then there's that perspective that we kind of overlooked. So thanks, Dante. For
All right, no, Dante, we're not going down. We're not going down that road. That's as far as I'm going with it. Looked it up. I'm not going any further with it.
That's where I got confused. I'm like, okay, I get the one thing. What am I missing?
It's the C word.
Know. Oh, okay.
It's a noun, and they use it for everything. It's like a Prego. Or, no. What is it? That hot sauce. What is it? Texas Pete. I put that shit on everything. So.
Texas guys, I gotta bail out. Sorry.
I appreciate you hanging out, and for the first day, man, you picked a hell of a day, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then we'll see you on Friday in person. We're going to see Untactical Texan live and in person on Friday. Laura and I are going to go hang out with him at the bar.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Are you going to the gay biker bar down in Houston?
No, we can't record that, Joe.
We can't record it. Why?
Is that what it is? Untactical?
No, that is not what it is.
That is a story that Joe is making up.
I can give you directions to one maybe afterwards. Google it or something. I don't know, but no, that is not where
you do have the address of one, but it's not where you work.
Well played.
That's
well
correct.
played.
Yeah, of course. I got a bunch of biker friends.
Oh, biker. No, I don't think he was talking about biker. I think he was talking about something else.
This is going to go back to balloon knots, isn't it?
Yes,
I'm not going to take it there.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah,
It's going back.
I'm bailing out now.
All right, man.
Going back to balloon knots.
Goodbye, Untactical Texan. Thanks for hanging out with us and streaming with us, man. Appreciate it. We have 922 live viewers. Appreciate you, man.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Thank everybody for
guys.
watching.
All right. So, yeah, man. So, Untactical Texan came in. That was cool.
I really like Untactical. Folks, I should have done it while he was here, but he's got you can find him on YouTube or any place you find podcasts, but you should catch his Untactical Texan podcast. He has some really good stuff and super entertaining.
And I would like to share with you a video of what it looked like with the defense team coming out today. Let me see if I can get this. Share this stream instead. I mean, you talking about press all over freaking Alan Jackson, dog. Let me see. What do I got? This one? All right, here we go.
You expect him to write things to Denison and he's prosperous? Is that what you actually do? Your questions, they just dawned on me. Your questions.
Greg Henning.
Oh,
Greg Henning.
Is that where these questions are coming from?
Yeah. He asked me dumb questions when I was arraigned too, Dave.
Oh, is that Turtle Boy telling them they asked them questions?
Yeah.
Of course.
Apparently, Alan Jackson's referring to these stupid questions he's being asked.
Mr. Jackson, is Adam Lally working for the defense now? It appears as if I'm a little confused about what happened in there. We're all very confused. We're very confused.
Turning up the heat. Turning it up.
Interesting day. How do we feel? Confident after that?
Absolutely.
Disgusted? Yes. The female jurors didn't seem pleased by that one. No, nor would they. Anyone with daughters be disgusted by what they just saw. Disgusted.
Balloon knot. What more can you ask for?
What was that?
Leaky balloon knot. What more
Yeah,
can you ask for?
disgusting. Chip is a misogynist.
I'm telling you that leaky
Shame
balloon
on you,
knot's
Chip.
it's got legs.
So, and there you have it. That was a what Turtle Boy recorded on his cell phone as he was following the entourage of reporters and the defense team. But you know, stuff like that, man, when you're watching that, it's hard not to see one video and then you see another one. You're like, oh, let me see, you know, because they don't show that stuff on Court TV. It's just exclusive content that we are able to watch right here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Wednesday. What's the schedule for tomorrow? We're going to replay something? We're going to do something, or just wait till Wednesday?
You know, I probably want to go through and pull out just the Proctor testimony from today's broadcast. I'm going to
Sure.
use some of that for tonight's court, or tonight, doing a night court with it. But man, I think it's worth replaying. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, every day. I mean, just putting it on just a 24-hour repeat.
Well, you don't hear. I just don't hear that. That's not something you hear in typical court coming from law enforcement, in particular coming from law enforcement. So it's amazing, truly amazing.
No, it's definitely a great day, and I think that Wednesday or Thursday when court goes back up, I think it'll be another day. I need to take the day off, and I really need to pay attention to what's being said, because this is history in the making. That I was actually watched this live, and then we did a show together, and we covered this live, and I just, you hear things that probably are going to be called, but when you actually see it in the courtroom and you hear it in the courtroom, it just hits different. And listening to Proctor say it himself and be forced to read those text messages where read this line at this date and this time, and he's just sitting there fumbling through the picture like where is this where is this information at? I and is Bev's like just grab the paper and just go point to which one he needs to read. And Jack's like, no, he's not reading it. Like, I know. Just go up there and just point to him. And then it's like, then he still wouldn't fucking read it. He was kind of like,
that wasn't her tone. She's like, no, you just read it to him. Just read it.
Yeah, you read it to him since he's not going to read it himself. It's like, you know,
she was already privy to what was about to happen there, and she was sideways and twisted. Which, you know what, you should be. As a police officer, you're conducting these investigations. I don't care what you locker room talk with the boys and all this other stuff. You've got to maintain impartiality when you're conducting an investigation, because you should be led by the evidence, not because you don't like this person or that you think this person has done something because you got no evidence behind it. I mean, that's what the news media does. That's what Turtle Boy does. That's what all these other people do. But we shouldn't have that in our court system. And I'll go back and say it again. It's like if they're doing it to Karen Reed, it's not the first time. There are probably people in the Massachusetts State Penitentiary that maybe shouldn't be there, or at least didn't get a fair shake by law enforcement and the judicial system there in Massachusetts.
I do give a lot of respect for Officer Barrows, the guy that went in there and said that the taillight was just cracked. I do give a lot of respect for him. I thought he carries himself well as a law enforcement. I thought he told the truth. He didn't care that it was, you know, whatever. He just said what he's seen, and just he wasn't treating the prosecution or the defense differently. He just said, well, they didn't even ask him any questions. He was so forthcoming and just told the truth. I thought he did a great job. The deputy from the Dayton Police Department.
Dayton, yes.
Dayton, yeah.
Police sergeant from Dayton Police Department. No, I agree. And that's when, honestly, you should have no bone to bear when you go in there as a police officer. That's why, personally, I watch when when police officers are on the stand, how if their demeanor changes when they go to the defense. You shouldn't, even if you feel that way, you shouldn't let the jury see that your demeanor changes from defense to prosecution. Because if it's true that you follow the evidence, then I'm just bringing in the facts. I have no dog in this fight. This is what I saw. You guys make your mind up and make your decision on what needs to happen. Beyond that, that should be a law enforcement officer's attitude when they go to trial. But you don't see that very often. I've seen it in personally. Myself in courtrooms before, where it's like you cringe. It's like, geez, what are you doing? Just don't.
Yeah.
Everyone has a right to the defense. They have the right to cross-examine. And if you're secure in what you did is right and true, shouldn't be a problem. Let's talk about it all day. I'll go over it again for you. Would you like?
So is this the Night Court T-shirt of the month? No leaky balloons here.
Ooh, I don't know that Night Court is going to get behind that.
No. Well, speaking of getting behind something, did you hear what I had said earlier about Officer Barrows and his accident that he had?
No.
Okay, so this guy more than likely is not even practicing law or as a police officer these days. In October 2023, Officer Barrows was hit by a drunk driver traveling 70 miles an hour while he was in his cruiser. He was lucky to be alive and has not returned to the job since. Here's a picture of his car and the other guy's car. This was in 2023. Yeah. So he was looks like he was just sitting still, and some guy was drunk, just ran into him and did that damage to his police cruiser while he was in it. And according to Turtle Boy, he hasn't been working since. So, but he looked okay today. But then again, so.
I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, back injuries and things like that can happen. And it's weird with police officers on the side of the road with the lights on. It's like it attracts drunk drivers for whatever reason. It's not uncommon for officers to be hit on a traffic stop with just their lights going, and a drunk driver didn't even hit the brakes, just right into them. It's weird.
Like an overcorrecting situation?
Don't know. I don't really know where it comes from, or if even it's a real thing. But in law enforcement, you have people, cops, to say that for whatever reason they're attracted to it.
And here's your David
That's Tico.
DeKiko, and this is him back in high school. Like almost all troopers working for Michael Morrissey's office, Trooper DeSico graduated from high school in Norfolk County, Norwood 2000. He won the superlative Biggest Attitude and references Blumpkins, Fudge, and Fupa in his high school yearbook. These are the people policing us. And this is a picture, Biggest Attitude. That's him. So,
yeah,
just some more little, I don't know, some stuff you can find online. I mean, it's comical, or just, I wouldn't say it's informative or educational, but it's it's more behind the story stuff. You can kind of see a picture of some of these people, but this was a interesting testimony. But big picture, as we're closing out and giving our final thoughts of today in court, how do you think that the case, big picture, how do you think that today has affected the big picture of the case?
I think it's some shade on the state. I think they already come in with some shade on them, or the air of impropriety with the way they handled this investigation. And I think today is just a cherry on top of that. Once again, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for the jury to get a decision on this. I think it's most likely a hung jury.
Hung jury. I mean, we're talking about what does it take for you just to say we can't proceed with the trial? This obviously is not going to be it. As soon as he's done with the cross-examination, the trial will continue. Wouldn't you agree? Or
I don't see this. This is not let's throw your hands up and give up the case on it, but it is to take it to the jury, and you're going to bite your nails. If you're the prosecutor, you're going to bite your nails and pace the floor that they can actually get to a decision. But it just takes one person to say, I just can't convict, and the 11 others say they can convict, but that's still a hung jury. And I don't think the state I don't think the state can come back and do this prosecution again. I think there's too many things stacked against them. Because you got to remember, a second prosecution is going to bring in every bit of testimony that was in this case, and plus the new testimony on the new trial. That'll kick up and go. But I don't think this is. I don't think this is a death knell for the case. But it's not good. It's not good at all.
So if they find the two different shoes somewhere in this testimony, that would be what's a showstopper for the
Done.
case here?
If you can show that one shoe was put into evidence that's a one type of style or make, and then the one another shoe was found on his body that's another style and make, then the only conclusion that you have to draw is either one, the police were so sloppy they can't figure out which shoes the man was wearing, or two, they finagled or manipulated evidence. Either way, this case is done.
Yeah,
But we haven't seen that shoe yet, have we?
but when he pulled out that taillight today, when they pulled out the taillight, the piece in this picture right here in that the upper right hand corner of this one, that piece was missing in that picture. It's not missing here. And I did see a discrepancy of that. I think if you're Alan Jackson, you don't need to point all of these things out because the jury sees them. I think they've got enough where they're not going to convict her with murder and send her to prison. I would be shocked if someone in that jury was saying, I want to convict her, and some people don't, and they have a hung jury. I think anyone watching this case, there's no way someone's talking about convicting her for murder. But I could be wrong.
Hey, it's hard to say with juries. It really is. It's impossible, and nobody in the legal field that says that they can predict a jury is telling you the truth. Even when you have a good case, you never know what a jury's going to do or how they perceived it, because you don't know. It's like having a conversation with someone and they never give you any feedback. So
True.
Are they listening to you? Are they buying your story? Or they're thinking this guy's a jackass? But either way, they're silent. You don't know until they come back and tell you how they thought about your testimony.
And you're
For those-
right. It's hard to get the opinion from, say, I would say Turtle Boy, but just anybody who's so strongly on the side of one side or another. It's hard to get their opinion because it's always going to be leaning to their thought.
My practice is that I'll listen to some other stuff that's going on, but I really focus on what the jury hears, which is the testimony we see in court, because that's what they'll go to use their that's what they'll use for deliberations. So I think that's the purest way to look at it.
All right. So, yeah, we can continue this conversation. If you're around X Spaces, maybe it might be a good one also to bring to YouTube as well. But if you're on X Spaces, definitely check out Night Court with Joe Lanu. And that's Joe, JOE_LNU on Twitter or X. And then you'll see his icon with a little blue microphone around it. Click on that one and it'll say, would you like to start listening? And you can request to speak and join the fun tonight. And that'll be at 9:00 Eastern.
That's right, 9:00 Eastern. Yeah, give us a join and come in. If you missed some of the testimony today, I'll pull the highlights out and we'll bust it into audio so that we can all listen to it again.
There
It'll be
might be
fun.
there might be some new words that we can learn and new phrases that we can learn tonight together. It'll be fun.
I absolutely learned one today. The leaky balloon knot was a new one for me. I thought at first they were talking about like a colostomy bag or some sort of a medical procedure until I looked it up, and that was even worse. It would have been better if they were making fun of her with a colostomy bag, which, by the way, she doesn't have.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
evidently there's another issue.
the balloon knot is something. If you listen to terrestrial radio, talk radio, they always have another word that describes something that they're not allowed to say from the FCC. Balloon knot is something that I had heard many times before, but not in a derogatory way. But I understood it to describe a certain part of the butt hole.
Well, I've heard chocolate starfish before, but I've never
Yeah.
heard balloon knot.
Well, and maybe it's an East Coast thing. That's in the East Coast. That's where I learned that term from. But anyway, we can all get together around the country tonight on Night Court with Joe Lanu at 9:00. Definitely go on X and tell a friend, bring a friend with you. Let's talk about it and have a good laugh about what's going and project about what's going to happen in the future. Cool.
Hey, thanks, folks. And hey, if you like what we do, I've got a new way to help us out with tips and things like that. It's Buy Me a Coffee. It's on my timeline, pinned to the top. But if you like what we do, we appreciate any generosity that you might throw our way. Appreciate
Definitely
you guys.
do that.
You're listening to the Karen Reed Murder Trial on Kingdom Radio.
You made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying.
Closer, 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 closer.
That is an area of damage that I noted as area 1 in my notes.
Stay tuned to Kingdom Radio Texas for live coverage of the Karen Reed murder trial.